Welcome in. Thursday edition. We're just a couple of days away from the Green Bay Packers. As predicted on this program last night, getting a narrow win in Chicago. I call it my shot. I don't do it very often. Just got a feeling. You know why? Part of it is, to be honest with you, is
because the Bears still suck.
Yeah, until they prove they're not. They're yeah. The rest of the world is looking down on the Green Bay Packers. The rest of the world is looking at the Packers like they're too banged up. Jordan Love is not good enough. They don't have enough weapons. They don't have enough defensive prowess. There's too many guys that are collecting too much money that are just not doing anything. The rest of the world is looking at the Green Bay Packers basically saying, yeah, they're not that good. They're not going anywhere. This is it. And they're putting all the onus on the Bears because if the Bears lose, then the good feeling that they've had all throughout the season will wither away. Poof, it's gone. It's gone. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be there. And Bears fans are going to be upset, and the world is going to come to an end in Chicago as they know it. And, yeah, I maybe I'm just going against the grain because it makes me mad. I don't know. Maybe it's an emotional pick. It probably is. There's just something about this week. I don't know what it is. Even Mike Clemens has trepidation. So I should probably put more weight into what Mike Clemens said to us last night on the huddle than what my own instincts are telling me. I should be like the George Costanza of this program, where everything I've ever based my opinion on, whether it's good instinct, knowledge, I should do the opposite. But I'm just sticking with what I said last night. So, but nationally, I'm listening today, and I was listening to numerous programs nationally. I was out and about this morning. And Adam Shine says, Bears lose, poof, gone. The magic is gone on the Chicago Bears. They have to have this because the Packers have owned them for so long, which he was wrong about a lot of things that he stated. But again, and he also said Jordan Love, not a good season out of Jordan Love. Then I'm listening to the Dan Patrick Show, and Dan Patrick's talking about the Bears and what the Bears need to do. And if the Bears don't get the win, then this good feeling just goes away in the city of Chicago, even though they've taken a step forward. They got a lot to look forward to next year, that this season then becomes just merely a stepping stone. Okay. I'm listening to Pro Football Talk this morning, Mike Florio and company, who's always, very frank, but very negative. Bears fans, if your team and Ben Johnson, after stating that you beat Matt LaFleur and you take a lot of pleasure in it twice a year.
To be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
There you go. So if he doesn't get the twice a year thing, then he's shamed in some way. That good feeling is gone. All of the above. It's like, no. First of all, if I'm a Bears fan, I think that this is a really tremendous season. But the bottom line is this. All the pressure's on the Bears to get the win. They've got to get out from underneath of some of the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are walking in going, you know what? We've lost 4 straight. We're completely beat up. We can just go in and let it all hang out. We are Big Brother. But right now, if you're ever going to beat up Big Brother, if you've ever had siblings and you finally get a chance to beat up your brother, you've grown up a little bit, you've kind of matured a little bit. Maybe your brother was a football player, you're a football player, and now, your brother's got bad knees. He's on into college and he's not even playing in college anymore, but you're going into your senior year of high school, and Big Brother's sitting right there, and you're still, maybe arm strength, you can't beat him, but, you can grab him around the legs. He's like, no, don't. I'm hurting. I can't do that anymore. And you're like, I got you, bro. I got you. That's what the Bears are feeling like right now. Because the Packers are like, don't do that. We can't. But it doesn't mean that as you let go of Big Brother that he pops you in the chops on the way back, take that one with you, So I'm listening to the world say that the Bears have to get this one. Otherwise, they're just the Bears. In the meantime, they're degrading the Packers. They're just downgrading everything the Packers have done. Everything the Packers have done. Even the coach. Ben Johnson has ascended above Matt LaFleur. Ben Johnson is more creative, more innovative than Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's message is not as fresh as it should be. Ben Johnson's is. Ben Johnson's young. He's energetic. He's enthusiastic. Matt LaFleur, they're starting to wonder. There's people looking over the fence in that backyard. So anyway, very dramatic today on many different national shows when they're starting to talk about the wild card weekend and the big game that is the fact that the Green Bay Packers go into Chicago coming up on Saturday night. So there you go. So we're going to talk about that. Got that. Who is playing for money? Think about it. Who's playing for money in this game? Who's playing for that contract? Who's playing for the extension? Who's playing for a job? Who's trying to find something to put on film that would show that they are worthy of another team who may not be here coming in the next season? We got that. Got that coming up. You got one of the college football games, football playoff games coming up tonight, which is exciting, I will say. I'm looking forward to it. Ole Miss tonight. I think the whole world is rooting for Ole Miss at this point. Ole Miss or Indiana, one of the two. So we've got that going on. Ole Miss and Miami coming up this evening. Then you've got the Oregon Ducks and the Indiana Hoosiers going at it tomorrow night. So we'll discuss that a little bit. Here's something, and you know me. You know me on this program, right? We've been together a long time. I have been staunch in my opinion and staunch in my support and staunch in my sources on this. I had a conversation yesterday, and it was about Giannis. And my guy, who has been my guy, we've had very frank, off the mic, away from the mic, knowledge-gathering conversations. I'd said to him, hey, things looking back up. Giannis is back. Teams, playing better basketball. Maybe things will come together. The injuries have been minimal, And I said, maybe Giannis would want to stay. And he looked at me and went, kind of like biting his lip, and shook his head like, no. And I said, wait, what? He said, Bill, if they don't win, he's going to want to leave. And I said, wait, what? Because this is a complete 180. He said, Bill, he's always going to come back to Milwaukee. He loves the city. He wants to win here more than anything. But if they don't have the resources to be able to win, this might be it. I was blown away. So, and I'd said this because I'm not Sham Sharina, okay? I'm not going to sit here every day and go, he's leaving. No, he's staying. No, he's leaving. No, he's staying. And they've been trying to get him out for 2 or 3 years. So their information and what they've been hearing is just the giant steaming pant load. And I don't, because I know where some of the information now comes from, and I now understand it. That's why I'm kind of like, no, you're full of crap. You're just throwing stuff at the wall. This was somebody who I very, 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 very much trust, and said, again, silence, biting his lip, shaking his head side to side, saying, mm-mm. And I said, really? I said, and I explained my side, saying, how can you say you want to win? They do everything they can to make you happy so you can win. And yet, if you can't, you got to move on. He said, now he's over 30, and this is about legacy now. This is about multiple championships. And he's given them so much time, yada, yada. And I said, what changed the mind? And he said, it's not that he doesn't appreciate it. It's just that the Damian Lillard thing was a disaster. It never really had a fit, even though on paper it looked great and everybody thought it was going to be wonderful. It just never materialized. And there is nothing there in the cupboard that they can use to make this team immediately better. And I was like, wow, really? So I had to sit there for a second and let that sink in, that there is going to be some type of life, maybe sooner rather than later, without Giannis. Now, I did say, and we did agree, I said, well, once you get a big man to 33, 34 years old, and he looked at me and he kind of pointed at his nose, and then he pointed at me going, right. That's when really the calf injuries, the Achilles injuries, the back injuries, the knee injuries, everything becomes exacerbated. So it might be you'd rather get rid of him a couple of years too early than a couple of years too late when there's not any value. At least then there'd be an ability to rebuild. I said, okay, I get it. But just so you know, I wanted to tell you, if I didn't put it out anywhere, I didn't tweet it anywhere, I didn't do a reel on it or anything. I wanted it to be on this program here today, just the conversation I had. Now do what you want with it. Because you know me, I'm not one to run to the bell tower and scream fire. I don't do that. I just kind of make an opinion on things and kind of go from there. But this one kind of punched me in the gut a little bit because Giannis has been such a staple in the state of Wisconsin, specifically the city of Milwaukee. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up. So that's everything today. Everything today. That's what we bring to the table. Here you go. That and the fact that Mike Clemens did yeoman's work yesterday inside the Packers locker room. We're going to hear a lot from inside the Packers locker room, both today and tomorrow. But Mike Clemens is the man. We are, by the way, the Green and Gold postgame show is going to be emanating live from down inside the Sheridan Grand Riverwalk. I don't know if we're at the Shy Bar or we're going to be at Shula's restaurant, but they are setting us up. So the Green and Gold postgame show is going to be taking place this Saturday night, 10 o'clock. Write it down. I don't care where you find us. If one of the network affiliate stations doesn't carry it, okay. Well, I'm sure that they're pining for us because for whatever reason they can't get us. But you turn to us. You find us, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Kick, Twitch, LinkedIn, our app, Wisco Sports Zone, whatever it is, find us because we're going to give you all the analysis. And maybe I'll be gloating a little bit. Maybe I'll be eating a lot of crow. I'm taking the Packers to win in a close game, but I'm taking the Packers to win. Did it last night. Put my money where my mouth is. So we're going to be down there live in Chicago. If you're going to the game, come on by after the fact, say hello. Otherwise, if you're looking for a place to stay, Sheridan Grand Riverwalk. All you got to do is give them a call. Give them a call, 312-464-1000. Tell them you're coming down there as a Packers fan to see the Bill Michaels show. Go to the game. Hang out with us after the fact. Good stuff. There you go. So that's the entire smorgasbord of stuff that we bring to the table on the program today. This portion of the program, I can't even do that yet. We're not even near break. Well, we've got about a minute here, but I want to let you know. Give us a buzz, 877-867-1670. Text us, 608-321-1670. Don't forget, watch us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Okay? I know you got to have an account, fill it out. It's okay. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you a damn thing. We are free. We wouldn't charge you for this crap, right? So go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Find us on Twitter, on X, @Bill_Michaels. Find Grant at Wisco Grant, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, The Bill Michaels Show. You're all good. And then you can find us on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. Our app, Wisco Sports Zone. Wisco Sports Zone. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Thebillmichaels.com is the website. And we are a television show, My24 TV in Milwaukee. 8 o'clock Central Time, Saturday night. I would encourage you, like in between commercial breaks for the Packers game, flip over to us. Just say, hey, how we looking? And then go back. 8 to 9. It's easy. No problem. Grant Bills, did you catch anything today? Because I know you were going ice fishing.
Dude, I wanted to this morning, but the ice was a little
sketchy.
The ice was a little sus. It was probably fine. It was crappy by the shore. I bet out towards the middle it would have been fine, but I don't know the water where I was super well, and it was early, and I'm like, I'm not going to if there's no one out there and I got to go to work. No, I didn't fish. Okay. I just went to the gym, but I kicked around and checked out the ice in a couple spots. I just didn't want to fall through the ice before work. Like that would be
a bummer.
Lame. Like if it's Saturday and I'm with my friends and we have a couple beers, like, okay, but it's Thursday morning. Like I'm not falling through the ice and then coming to the studio. So I just went to the gym instead. So maybe this weekend. It's been warm, and I don't know. I hadn't been out on this part of the lake. Again, it was probably fine, but better safe than sorry. The show needs to be produced, Bill. So I was thinking about that too.
I know. No, I get it. I was good to hear this morning on Over the Line that Austin is alive. So that's nice.
He's been busy.
Yeah, so he's got stuff going on. So that's good.
He was over at Jimmy John's yesterday. He's holding up multiple industries with multiple part-time jobs. So that's good.
Kristen is a fan of Jimmy John's. She likes Jimmy John's
Delicious.
Cousins. So she's a fan. I've never had in my life, to be perfectly honest with you, I've never had Jimmy John's. So There you go.
Well, you're a member of the Cousins sub clubs.
We are.
That would make sense.
That's hey, they pay our bills because we pay their bills. I think they just looked at me pathetically and went, you eat here all the time, dude. Just here's some money. Just get out.
Yeah, you felt bad for you. It's like, okay, Are you sure?
You've spent so much here. We're either going to franchise or, sponsor your show a little bit. And I think the show sponsors probably a lot less. So we'll go in that direction. So yeah, there you go. So is there anything that I missed? Because you didn't even know that I was dropping a Giannis bomb today.
No, well, and it's weird because this morning we have this, Sam Amick at The Athletic put out an exclusive where he talked to Giannis, where Giannis said he's never going to request a trade, which I saw, and it's like, okay, you're not going to come out and request one, but behind closed doors, like, could you and the Bucks sit down, and you know what I mean?
He has never requested a trade. He has never said, I want out. What he has said is, I want championships. And when I talked to my guy, and this was a very, it's one of those conversations when you're in it, you're thinking to yourself, this is a great conversation. And we got into this discussion and he just kind of shook his head. And again, this is somebody that I can't tell you how close he is, but he's close. And he just went, And I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, because you got to start weighing those decisions because Giannis wants a legacy of championships. He said, Bill, he said, let me say this. It's not like he doesn't like Milwaukee. He loves Milwaukee. He loves the people. He loves where he lives. He loves his neighborhood. I mean, he went through the whole litany, just basically being the Travel Wisconsin ambassador for the city of Milwaukee when we were in this discussion. It is nothing about the city. It is nothing about wanting to be a bigger market. It is nothing to be, to be in the bright lights of LA or got to be in warmer climate in Miami. None of that. It is just merely, I want legacy. I would like numerous championships. And he feels like he would be a failure if he doesn't get there. Now, part of that, he understands he's got to be healthy, but he just doesn't know if they're going to have the resources to be able to continue to fortify the team. And he said, it's not going to be at the trade deadline. He's not going anywhere. Not going to be going anywhere at the trade deadline. So that's, if anybody comes out with that, it's crap. But in this offseason or next, he said, Bill, Giannis will not end his career here. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah, it might be sooner rather than later. But because I even said trade deadline, he's like, oh, no. Giannis wants to stick this out. He said Giannis would never go in and say it, but his people will because they know what Giannis wants. I said, well, fair enough. And at that point, you know what? He'll be here more than a decade. You got one. And if you just don't have the resources around you, I'm not going to take it as a slight because he will have pretty much given his all and the better part of his years in Milwaukee. So I can't argue with that. But so there you go. But he did say, and I agree with you about that article, he's not going to walk in and demand a trade. He's not going to walk in and tell him he wants out of Milwaukee. But they know what he wants. They know he wants to win again. So anyway. What else is there? You know what? We are really late for a break. Let's do this because I just rambled on. Here's the question, and you brought it up this morning when we were kind of going back and forth. What players really need a big showing in this game? I mean, if you look at it as, let's just say the unfortunate happens and the Packers don't win. What players need a big game in this game against the Bears?
So to be clear, you're not asking which players need to play big for the Packers to win. We're talking about which players have something to prove going into an offseason, which players need to pop before the end of the season. Okay, that I also find that more interesting. Yep. Okay, I just want to make sure I had you right.
There's some players that are coming up contractually that we know they have to make some decisions on. What players need to have that big game to say, look, in this big moment, in this particular, on this stage, when the NFL, by the way, did you know the NFL feels that this game between the Packers and the Bears is the prize game of the weekend?
Well, apparently it was the Sun-Times had a report on this too the other day. I'll send it to you, but this is the number one choice that all the networks had. They wanted this and Philly, San Francisco, and the NFL awarded it to Amazon as like, this is how much we value streaming. Right. That's how this went down.
Well, this is how much we value you. We want to give you something for the amount of money you're paying us because some of the Thursday night games have really sucked. So, and maybe this will actually energize Al Michaels. I love Al Michaels. He's part of my broadcast legacy. Okay. I just, when I think about great broadcasters and big moments in sports, there is none bigger than Do You Believe in Miracles? I love Al Michaels. My first experience with Al Michaels, he was with the Cincinnati Reds back in 69, 70, 71. He's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But he is broadcasting games as if he's asleep or doesn't give a damn. There are times when I listen to him, I'm like, is this guy is he watching it on TV at home? He just seems like he just doesn't care anymore. Like that fire's gone. And I think part of it is because they've given him some really crappy games. And him and Kirk Herbstreit, they work pretty well together. At times it sounds a little forced, but Al Michaels was always that voice that when he came on, man, there was excitement. There was excitement. And now it's like, oh God, I hate to see him go out like this. So I'm hope that this is a really good game and kind of rejuvenates his enthusiasm on a Saturday night, Chicago, Soldier Field, Packers, Bears, good game, that type of thing. So I'm hoping for that.
He's still witty as ever. I'll give him that. He's funny. He just doesn't have a ton of oomph, which he's never been the most oomph. He's never been Gus Johnson, right? But he'll make you laugh, and he's got snarky comments. He's still funny. He just doesn't have a lot of gas, which I can get over. I don't really care that much. He,
in big moments, it used to be the addition of his voice gave you the excitement of the big moment. Now it's almost like it's a big moment, and when he then speaks of the moment, it will deflate that moment a little bit. And not to be Gus Johnson, because Gus Johnson is crazy over the top. But like Mike Tirico the other night on the call of the missed field goal, that was a brilliant, brilliant call. It was exciting. It was enthusiastic. You could feel the pain on both the missed field goal from the kicker's perspective, and you could feel Tirico's excitement for just the way the game ended, adding to the enthusiasm inside the stadium because they were in Pittsburgh. It was a perfect moment call, and you don't get a lot of those anymore out of Al Michaels. So I hope that this kind of gives him the adrenaline shot. So, and you're right. He's 81 years old. He's 81. So maybe he's just like, you know what? I'm thrilled that I'm doing a game. I'm thrilled that I'm still above the dirt, and on an exciting call, I have to be careful because I could end up needing a poisey pad. So who knows? All right, let's do this. We're way late. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Yesterday, we had a couple people that threw some bets down, some challenges down for some money for Big Unit Foundation, and it went through. There was a good thanks to everybody, by the way. Thanks to thanks to everybody. And it doesn't deserve it doesn't deserve that. No. It doesn't deserve the grand announcement, but $350 came in yesterday to Big Unit Foundation for people that were betting 25 or $50 that the Packers and or Bears would win. So in the note column, which was great. So whichever side happens, I will match. So that's fantastic. Good stuff. I'll match it right into the foundation. So good stuff. And thank you so much for taking time to donate. There was, like I said, $350 came in, and there was multiple bets of 25 and multiple bets of 50. So I don't know how many people that is, but it was great. It was awesome. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. And that goes to helping our friends, our veterans, military members, first responders, and their families. So it was awesome stuff yesterday. Thank you so much. If you want to make a donation, you can go to bigunitfoundation.com. That is Big Unit. You can do it right there on your phone. bigunitfoundation.com. There you go. Who needs a big night Saturday night? And I'm not just talking for the Packers to get a win, but I'm talking if you're going to be a player that is now looking for a contract, an extension, to have the team pick you up. Quay Walker, we know, is coming. We know that. What else? Is it going to be Rashawn Gary, which I would more than be willing to say yes, because Rashawn Gary's the second highest paid player on this team right now. Is Rashawn Gary going to be the guy that's going to absolutely positively need to? Because this next year is the year that if they want to cut him loose, because he's due to make $31 million next year. If they cut him loose, they only have to pay him $8 million. So now in 2028, he becomes an unrestricted free agent. But, there's some money on the table. They got to pay the man $8 million, but basically $8 million to go away. And then he's got to figure out what team he's going to, kind of latch on to next. So he's going to be a guy. Obviously, there's some other ones that are there that, are going to be trying to make themselves some additional money. You look at a guy like Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney's the next one. He's making next year, his cap hit is $22.5 million. To cut him loose, they only owe him $5 million. I mean, think about everything they're going to be freeing up, that guys that need to make impressions here, because there's nothing that says Xavier McKinney's definitely going to be back, So obviously you look at a guy like Lucas Van Ness, same thing. By the way, Josh Jacobs next year makes 16.6. If they cut him, they only owe him 3. I mean, they could free up. The team would look drastically different, but they could free up a ton of money. A ton of money. So who needs to really show up? Who needs to really show up in this upcoming game in your eyes? Not just for the sake of the Green Bay Packers getting a win, but if they're going to have anything out there that's going to say, I'm worthy of a big contract, I'm worthy of, more money with another organization, or I'm worthy of the Packers extending me in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of question marks right now. There's a lot of question marks out there right now. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Find us, want to hear from you. 877-867-1670. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
which players have you mentioned? I think you mentioned Dobbs.
I mentioned Jacobs. There's
Jacobs.
Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary,
I think those are all good.
Xavier McKinney.
Okay. May I throw one in that I don't think is as sexy, but I think it's interesting?
Yeah, go
what
ahead.
about Sean Ryan?
Yeah.
I don't think the Packers are going to have to make some adjustments on the O-line. I actually think that if they believe Sean Ryan could be a good center, I think they would probably prefer to keep him. I don't think they want to replace their center and their left guard. And like they already have to do some shuffling. They're probably going to have to replace their left tackle.
Yeah.
If Sean Ryan could be their center moving forward, I think that would probably be an item that they'd love to check off their list. I don't know if that's something that they're even thinking about or if Sean Ryan's just a stopgap, but that's a player who came to mind too.
Yep. The other one, Dontavian Wicks. This is he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So he's another guy. He's had a pretty good season. Not great, but he's another guy. He's been injured. But he's had some moments, but he's another guy that you got to look at, and he's fighting for his financial life here. So there's some guys that I agree. It's like, and then I mentioned, we all talked about Lucas Van Ness. Lucas Van Ness, this is his last year. The club has the option for him at the end of the season, whether or not they want to pick it up. What do you do? So there's quite a few guys that they need to show up, because you've got not just this game, you've got financial certainty or uncertainty riding upon this. You want to do it on a big stage. Now, it doesn't mean you want to go rogue. You want to do your job, but there's quite a few right here that you start looking at and you're going, oh, this team could look really, really, really different going into next season for just some of the names that we had reeled off. And some of these names are not small names by any stretch of the imagination.
And they need to decide on Lucas Van Ness's fifth-year option this offseason, right? Because he's finishing his third year, which means they'll need to decide or come to some sort of a deal.
Right.
And he's been hurt. It's a bummer for Wicks and it's a bummer for Van Ness because both of them are in contract years in different ways, and they've both been dealing with nagging injuries. But I thought, the last time the Packers played an actual football game against Baltimore, Lucas Van Ness was like the one guy on defense who actually stood out and played pretty well.
Think about this. Next year for 2026, the dead cap hit, $17 million still left over on Kenny Clark going into next season. So you got $17 million of dead cap space, which is almost 5.5%, 6% of your total cap on Kenny Clark. Everything else is relatively minimal. You don't have a lot of money. That's dead cap money. So you're actually in a relatively good space going into next season. But
and the thing is, once they decide players they want to extend, then you work those contracts in a way that, you extend them, but you end up saving money in the short term. Like you're always pushing money down. All of these clubs are always pushing money down the road. But then when they get down the road, they're extending new players and that money gets pushed down the road. So you're always working into the future. But they got to decide, especially on the O-line, like what are we going to do at left tackle?
Right.
How are we going to replace Elton Jenkins' spot? Is Belton going to be our right guard of the future, or is Sean Ryan going to be our center of the future? They have real questions at those couple of positions too.
Yep. So you've got guys that are going to be on the cusp going into next season as to where they're going to be. Some of this money, and like I said, now Xavier McKinney, and let me go back because I'm going into the 2026 cap, but Xavier McKinney going into next season. In the 2026 season, he'd make $19 million if they cut him loose. I think I said it'd be $5 million. Actually, if they cut him loose, it's $11 million they owe him. So they pick up about $8 million on the cap if they ended up cutting him loose. Josh Jacobs, I don't want to go through this again real quick. He's owed $14 million next year. They would only have to pay him $6 million. So they would save $8 million on the cap there. So there's still, even though it's affordable, you've got significance going into next season. Trying to think who else I was looking at here because I want to make sure I'm on the right year because I was looking at some 2026 numbers. And I had mentioned Quay Walker. Quay Walker's obviously, they want to get his number taken care of. Right now, he did not take the the club option. So now it's whether or not they're going to work out a contract going into next season. He would then become, if they cut him loose, a free agent. If they just say, hey, we're not gonna go in that direction. But yeah, there's quite a few guys. And then obviously your left tackle, Rasheed Walker this year. Now think about this. Rasheed Walker has basically been your starting left tackle since the day he walked through the door. Rasheed Walker, in the last 3 years, has made a total of $5.2 million in 3 years. $6 million total over 4 since 2022 for a starting left tackle. So I talk about this in the reason of people want to rip Goody all the time. First round bust. But he found a starting left tackle in the National Football League, which the average, I think, right now for starting left tackle is like $18 million for 4 years for a total of $6 million. For his starting years, $5.2 million. That's your bargain right there. So you take the good with the bad. Anyway, let's do this. We went woefully late in the first segment, so I wanted to get into this. Who needs to have a game? Who needs to have a game? Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back in. Bill Michaels Show. Hanging in there today. Hopefully you are as well. So glad you are with us. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Point Brewing, the Bach Run. Not far away, coming up in March. Point Bach Run. Get everybody together, do a little running, walking, and vibing after the fact. It's always a great event, and that's one of their bigger events coming up to kind of kick off spring, if you will. But don't forget about the Point Bach Run. Go to pointbrewery.com. You can see all the information there, but don't forget about all the great beverages they have. And if you're going to be celebrating after the game coming up on Saturday night, make it something local. Make it something from Point. Point Brewing, brewing excellence since 1857, right in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is kind of master of the obvious, but this is from our buddy Mark. Mark says, hey, guys, I think the number one thing that has to happen on Saturday night is Jordan Love has to have an impeccable game. This is where he needs to shine the brightest to show that he is, one, better than Caleb Williams, two, that he is a quarterback worthy of a top 10 status, and three, to be able to take the helm of the Green Bay Packers and say, we will not be denied. That is from Mark. Mark, appreciate the email. I don't know if it's just Jordan Love, but I agree with you that this is where the guy that you're paying the most, the guy that has the franchise face, if you will, this is where you need them to shine. I couldn't agree more. Not that I'm saying if he throws, 3 touchdowns and 270 yards and, runs for 30 yards himself and everything, and they still end up losing the game. Not to say it's a lost cause, but me, the biggest thing for Jordan Love is stay upright. The offensive line has to protect him. Stay upright, be on target, see the field. And for whatever you do, for God's sakes, don't turn the ball over. You can't turn the ball over. I think if that happens, if they don't turn the ball over, I think the Packers are going to be okay. So, and I don't necessarily agree that he has to be better than Caleb Williams, but certainly for the experience and the way you're thought of, you don't want to be the quarterback going against Caleb Williams when Caleb Williams has his quote coming out party. You don't want to be that guy. So 877-867-1670. All these rumors that are floating around. Glenn says the rumor is Matt LaFleur is going to coach the Atlanta Falcons. First of all, he's got another year on his contract. And then the other rumor is that John Harbaugh is not taking any interviews because they're waiting to see what happens with the Packers. Tell me where these rumors are being said. Show me where they're at. Tell me where, because I think right now you're out there just spewing a bunch of crap.
I think the Atlanta thing, this is at least a month or two old, where some Atlanta radio hosts were like, right, I would watch Matt LaFleur if he springs free, Atlanta might be interested. I think that's as far as that ever went.
Right.
Florio has a story today. I'll send it to you. See, here's the thing with Florio, and I actually don't really have a problem with Florio, but sometimes he'll just like give an opinion or throw something out there, which is fine. But then when you mix that in with like super hardcore detailed reporting, sometimes it can get a little muddy.
Right.
But he's saying that people in the NFL are watching Green Bay and watching Buffalo. If their seasons don't end a certain way, then they could be in the mix for Harbaugh.
Right.
So I'll send you that link. I guess that's I don't know if that's where that's coming from, but that's probably the best, most reputable place I've seen it.
I think Harbaugh has been with one franchise for how long? 18 years?
Yeah, he's McCarthy. He did what McCarthy did, basically, the way I see it.
And he is just taking a week off. That's it. No, I don't think it's anything more than that. It's not like right now you're in a transfer portal, you know? And Steve Stewart says the herd. Okay. First of all, I listened to what Colin Cowherd had to say. He's basically doing the speculative stuff. There's no rumor out there. He was like, wouldn't this be ironic or wouldn't this be something a good fit? But he never said and attributed it to anybody. This is just a lot of speculation, much like Grant had just expressed about the Atlanta talk show hosts. There's nothing there. There's no smoke there. It's just what if. We can say what if about a lot of things. What if Matt LaFleur got fired and Robert Saleh got a head coaching job? Would Matt LaFleur then go back and compare their offensive minds? Would he go back to his buddy? Would he go over to Sean McVay? Would he, it just, we could say what if all day long, but there's no rumors there. So when you talk about rumors, I want to know what the rumors are and who's attributing the rumors. These are just people talking out loud. That's it. And honestly, I don't think unless there is some massive, awful collapse, I don't think Matt LaFleur is going anywhere. I just don't. So I don't think that's happening. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. What else do we have? Mike McDaniel fired today. We all know. It was a little weird that it took 4 days because they let McDaniel meet with Tua. And
to the point where it seemed like he was staying.
Yeah. So something happened. Something happened along the way that either Tua didn't like something and went to front office, or guys went to management. Something weird happened because you don't let a guy do all the exit interviews, talk to guys about their future, about what they're looking for coming up next year and in the offseason, and then go, oh, by the way, you're out. Otherwise, you're just completely inept as an owner, which I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility in Miami. But something weird happened. I don't know what that was. But something weird went on there. But yeah, Mike McDaniel out.
It seemed like for the last month of the season, really, Miami's going to get rid of Tua, get rid of the GM, and retain the coach, which sometimes is a little weird to me. Like it's weird to keep a coach and bring in a new GM and then stick the GM with it. But teams do it.
Right.
And then to wait 4 days after the regular season ended, too. It's just a bizarre situation.
Mike says the rumor coming out of Cincinnati is that they're now looking over the fence and possibly hiring Harbaugh and getting rid of Zach Taylor. Mike, that's not true either. Our buddy Mo Egger said, wouldn't that be interesting? That's where
they're not even getting a new DC. They're not changing anything.
They're not changing anything down there.
And that's because of money. You've explained. Okay.
Mike Brown, when he walks, his ass squeaks. You put a lump of coal on his chair, and in a week you'll have a diamond. He's not paying coaches to go away and do nothing. He never has, never will. He is as tight gets. So that's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So but I heard that too. And that came, and I read it, and it came from our buddy Mo Egger, who took a phone call and then pontificated or wondered out loud, wouldn't that be ironic if indeed he ended up coming here and bringing that quote pedigree into Cincinnati, because he's not a play caller. He's not a defensive or offensive guy where he calls the plays. He's basically a head coach who then goes and hires the people below him. And they're looking for structure and management and all that. And he said, but that's never going to happen. So, and that's not coming out of anybody that's reporting it in Cincinnati. So I read that and I saw that and I listened to it. That's not happening. That's not a rumor either. So be real careful when you say it's a rumor versus did you hear the discussion? Because those are two drastically different things. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. If you are thinking about right now, I mean, it's 50 degrees out. I'm loving it. I tell you what, I know I see the motorcycle sitting there. It's got dust all over it. It just makes me sad. But I see the motorcycle sitting there, and I thought to myself, you know what? If it got about 5 degrees warmer and the road wasn't soaked, I'd actually go ride today. Even if I got to go pick up milk, I'd go ride. I'd ride over there to get it. It's just that kind of a day. You kind of feel like it. You know, you're maybe beginning the itch. If you're getting the itch and you want to find yourself into the wind, a little wind therapy is not a bad thing. Start dreaming about it. Suburban Harley Davidson. Go to suburbanharley.com. That's suburbanharley.com. Family owned, 50 plus years, right there on Main Street in Thiensville, Wisconsin. They've got bikes new and used. They got 2026s coming in. They got high end. They've got starters. They've got classes to teach you how to ride if you don't. They've got motor clothes, parts, accessories, you name it, they've got it, and they're family owned, and they've been around a long, long time, so you know they're not going anywhere, and you know the prices are lower because they're not out to screw you. That's suburbanharley.com. That is suburbanharley.com. The place I deal with, and I think you should too. Ready?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. This portion of the program, Bill Michaels Show, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Right now is the time. Get yourself the free in-home consultation for free. And they can help you out. I mean, they can make your house more. They can add beauty and value to your house. field or inside, whatever. But they've got different lines, different capabilities, and obviously 0% financing. So plenty of reasons to get a hold of our friends over at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And I did it, and I just have not looked back. It's been fantastic. Go to PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com. Get the free in-home consultation. Ask about it. Seriously. They'll come over and tell you what you do and you don't need and maybe match it up to what. If you got a period home, they can match it up to that. If you've got a historic home, they can match it up to that. If you've got something new and contemporary, they can do that as well. Or if you just want to find something to fit your budget, they've got something there. So go to PellaWI.com or call them direct 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. There you go. Let's see here. This is from our buddy Steve. Oh, by the way, he said, did you see Mike McDaniels is gone? Yes, I did. And then he goes on to say, did you see the Tennessee Titans ask for permission to interview Jeff Hafley? Good luck. You deserve a shot. I have said all week that the Packers will win a Saturday. Book it. Having Josh Jacobs back, especially the weather conditions, are going to bode well for winning at the time of possession battle. Also, having the weapon that Daniel Whelan and flipping the field will be huge. Again, depending on if the wind is blowing in your face or not. So, again, do not turn the ball over. That changes the Bears' game plan. Seeing the Badger football program making progress in the portal, encouraging. How much added pressure does this add for Coach Fickell? Looking forward tonight to the Ole Miss-Miami game. And I'm going Ole Miss. Never like the U. That's Steve in Richfield. I did see that Jeff Hafley's going to get some interviews. I think with what has gone on, you've got Raheem Morris, who is a defensive-minded coach in Atlanta. You got Kevin Stefanski, more of an offensive guy. You've got Brian Dable, who's going to be floating around out there, although I don't think he's going to get many head coaching opportunities. Pete Carroll, I don't think he's going to get many head coaching opportunities. Jonathan Gannon is going to be floating around out there. Mike McDaniel's offensively now floating around out there. Harbaugh's floating around out there. Brian Callahan is floating around out there. You've got 8. We said when we went through that list, I said there could possibly be 9 jobs. There's 8 jobs available right now. I'm certainly Hafley's going to get some looks. I just don't want him to get looks right now. You know, just don't want that right now. Concentrate on the Bears and then move on. Stay tuned. More coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
While the Packers are gearing up for Saturday night's wildcard matchup with the Bears, it will be the 4th playoff start of Jordan Love's career, while it will be the first for Chicago's Caleb Williams. Packers coach Matt LaFleur was asked if Love has a bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more experience you get, the more seasoned you get, but ultimately it's about what you do on that day, and just trying to make it as much like any other game as possible.
Packers, they're prepping for another windy night inside Soldier Field, though LaFleur says that's nothing new.
I mean, it can't be any windier than it was last time we were there. I mean, it was the one ball Jordan threw in the end zone took a right on him. So it is what it is, and you got to battle the elements, and we're definitely well-versed in dealing with the elements, so I don't think it'll be advantage either way.
Kick on Saturday night is set for 7. Turning to the Badgers, they continue to dip into the transfer portal. They picked up another wide receiver yesterday, Jalen Domingo from southeastern Louisiana. He had 11 touchdowns this past year. Meanwhile, the team has lost a 3-year starting guard, Joe Brunner, to the portal.
For nearly 40 years, ABC of Wisconsin has been helping men and women transform themselves into well-paid, productive members of their construction teams. Today, we have 2,000 active apprentices in 10 different skilled trade programs, and we educate individuals in more trades than anyone else. To get your career started, go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Despite 34 points from Giannis and Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks would fall on the road to the Golden State Warriors last night, 120-113. Up next for the Deer, they'll be in LA to take on the Lakers tomorrow night at 9:30. And finally, Wisconsin basketball is gearing up for their trip to Ann Arbor on Saturday to take on number 2 Michigan. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome in to everybody on the network. Certainly appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Your time. A lot to get to today. Mike Renner coming up here in just a little while from CBS Sports. We'll talk with him. Wild card weekend is almost upon us. You've got the college football playoffs back at it tonight, which I'm excited about. I'm looking forward to hopefully Ole Miss getting a win. Ole Miss and the U going at it tonight. And then on top of that, you've got tomorrow, you've got Indiana and Oregon going at it. So tonight you've got some football. Tomorrow night you got some football. Saturday we've got football. Sunday we've got football. So, and Monday we've got football. And then that's it for the Thursday nights and the Monday night games for a while. I mean, you're going to have a Monday night national title coming up in a couple weeks. But that is kind of it for the NFL as far as outside of the weekends now. But good with that. Who needs to have a big game? Not just for the Packers to win, but some people that need to put some things on film in big moments that can say, hey, I'm worthy of either another contract, or if I get cut loose, somebody's going to want me, because that's part of what you're playing for coming up this weekend for the names that we read off last hour. There's quite a few of them that are right there in flux. So it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Green Bay Packers, but hopefully the offseason doesn't get here too soon, to be perfectly honest with you. So we got Mike Renner coming up out of the hour. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur in a moment. We've got some other stuff going on. I talked about the Giannis thing. We'll get into that coming up a little bit later on. Giannis in an article saying he's never, really doesn't want to ask for a trade. But my guy saying that it's kind of an unwritten thing that if they don't get it this year, that quite possibly, it's about legacy now. And he really, really, really wants to win a championship. And there could be some change. And you'd rather get rid of him a couple of years too early than a couple of years too late after the body has started to break down, which we've already seen. He's missed quite a few games this year. And you still can get a haul for him. You can still get draft choices for him. You can begin to rebuild your team in some way, shape, or form if you're able to. So we'll see. We'll see there. So all of that going on. You want to chime in? Call us 877-867-1670. You can also text us 608-321-1670. You can find us on YouTube. And I encourage you to subscribe. Even if you don't have an account, you just open an account. It's easy. Your name and an email address. And it doesn't cost you anything. But go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Just search Bill Michaels Show and you'll find it. It's got the show logo, the one that's over my shoulder right there on the placard, if you will. And then just hit subscribe. It's absolutely free. Find us there. On Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find us at Wisco Grant as well. Grant Bills at Wisco Grant. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. The Bill Michaels Show, THE, The Bill Michaels Show. On the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app. Our app is Wisco Sports Zone. Wisco Sports Zone. 3 words, put them all together. Email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website, simply thebillmichaels.com. You've got My 24 TV in Milwaukee also carries the program. Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time, Wisconsin Sports Weekly, My 24 TV in Milwaukee. There you go. Those are all the ways to find us. So hopefully that gives you everything. All right, let's do this. Matt LaFleur talking to the media. Let's take a listen to what Matt LaFleur has to say.
Matt LaFleur speaking right now. I can give you that next hour. I have Jordan Love from last night.
Oh,
right
well,
now,
then let's do Jordan Love. Let's take a listen to what Jordan Love has to say.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, if you were describing your personal mood for this week in this game, how would you do so?
Excited. Very excited. It's playoffs. You know what I mean?
What's the biggest thing you've learned about playing on this stage from the last 3 playoff games you played the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows this playoffs, this win or go home. You got to go out there, play your best ball, and execute at a high level. And if you don't, you're going to end up losing the game. And it comes down to who executes the best, who takes care of the ball the best, and who puts up the most points. So you just got to go out there, play your best ball, and execute at a high level, or else you'll be going home.
How much do you think that experience helps you going into this game, or does it make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it doesn't make a difference. I think we got a lot of young guys. It'll be their first playoffs. My first playoff game, we went in there and did some good things. So it just comes down to going out there, like I mentioned, and playing your best ball, having a great week of prep, staying focused all week in the plan, and just, staying mentally dialed in all week.
Does it feel like it's been 3 weeks since you've played in a game?
Oh, man, no, it doesn't really. I think still just practicing all week and, staying locked in. And, obviously was suited up last week, was ready to go. But, it's been a couple weeks. But, no, it doesn't feel like that. I think, just staying with it in practice.
How much Bears prep did you put into last week?
A little bit. We watched a little bit of tape and, sat down with Matt. We went over a couple of things. And but you still don't, want to put too much in. You still don't know if it's going to be them or if it's going to be a different team. So, you look at some stuff, start planning it, kind of rewatch the games we had against them and see what they did. Yeah.
In 2023, Jordan, you guys had a lot of momentum when you went down to Dallas and ended up rolling. Last year, not so much, and this year, not so much. Is momentum important or not? And if it is important, how do you get it back?
Yeah, no, I think it's something to look at. But at the end of the day, playoffs come around, everybody starts 0-0. You got to find a way to go win that week. And, I think you look back 2023, we're trying to win every game just to get into playoffs. And, I think that momentum might have helped carry us over. But at the end of the day, it's 0-0. You gotta go out there, play your best ball and execute and find ways to win that first one and then get rolling.
Is there any kind of rest factor because you haven't played in a while, even though you practiced a pretty full practice last week?
No, I don't have any concern about that.
What's your recollection of the last play you had at Soldier Field? This is the hit you took there.
Yeah, I got hit and got a concussion and left the game.
Do you think it was clean?
What, the hit?
Yeah.
It's a hit. It is what it is.
With the rivalry being what it is, do you feel like it'll ramp up in the playoffs even more, or is it kind of already at fever pitch?
No, definitely. The intensity of playoff games definitely amps up. And, like I mentioned, it's win or go home. Everybody knows what's at stake. So, yeah, I think going into it, playing a team that, it's going to be our third time playing them, third matchup. So the intensity will be there. The emotions will be there. And it's a rivalry game and a playoff game at the same time. So everything will be there.
Jordan, what do you take from the last game when you did play against the Bears? What's kind of the key for the offense heading into this matchup?
Yeah, the key for us as offense is scoring points when we get in the red zone. I think that's something that we didn't do as good of a job of in the last game. I think we've put some good drives together. We've executed, but we just got to find a way to score touchdowns when we get down there.
Is that why Nathaniel Hackett's back this week to help with the gold zone?
No. Hack's been around. He's bounced in and out, I think, majority of the season and been helping out, I think, with the defense a good amount. But no, it's always good to have him around. And, yeah.
Jordan, you're a competitive guy. You've done a lot of good things in this league. The last 2 playoff losses, though, I'm sure, are games that you would have liked to certainly yourself have back. How do you sit on those this week? Do you not even think of them at all? Do they gnaw on you? How do you process those when you're going into those?
Yeah, I think you just got to understand, as a player, as a quarterback, that you got to find ways to not make mistakes. And those are going to be the plays that are going to kind of haunt you all offseason. If you go in there and make mistakes, have turnovers, and things that'll end up losing you the game. So you got to find ways to just go out there, play your best ball, execute and not have any, plays that are like, man, I wish I could have got that back. Ain't no wish you could have got it back. You got to go find ways to make them.
Are you better for going through those at this point? And if so, how do those experiences kind of shape you as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think every experience, going on the field, every play is something to learn from and grow from. And, that's the mindset I've always taken. And, I think, like I mentioned, with the going in playoffs, having a win and then having a couple tough losses, it all shapes you going in the offseason, all stuff to learn from. But, right now we're just focused on this moment and going out there, like I mentioned, playing our best ball and, kind of learning from the past couple games we've had against the Bears.
I know you've spoken to the team with the message going into the playoffs here too. How do you lead? Are you an example leader? Are you a speech leader? Particularly this time of year?
No, I'm definitely. I always try to lead by example. I've never been a big rah guy, giving any crazy speeches, pep talks, but something I've tried to grow into that role and get better at. But I've always, focused on trying to lead by example and just go out there and put in the work and showcase through that.
Do you feel extra this time of year for some of these guys who haven't gone through this experience, the leadership aspect of it? Do you feel more responsibility on that, or not necessarily?
No, I think for me, it's just staying consistent. It's something that, I got to try and be the same person every day. And, I always try and lead, like I mentioned, by example, talk to the guys on the side if I feel like guys need a little extra motivation. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where I always have the mindset to follow me. And, I'll try and lead you in the right direction every time.
How much interaction do you have with Getsy? And if it's a little bit, what impact has he had this year?
A lot. Getsy's the guy who's in the quarterback room with us every day. So he's done a great job just, helping out. He helps Matt out a lot with game planning and things like that. But, I got a lot of love for Getsy. He was my quarterback coach my first couple years here in the league. And so we got a great relationship. But, yeah, he's the guy who's in there with us every day in the quarterback room.
Jordan, with Josh Jacobs and Zach Tom, they've been pretty much banged up for most of this year. What would it mean to get them more fresh with the rest they just got for Saturday?
Yeah, it'd be huge. I think that was obviously the plan with last week, trying to rest guys, is just trying to get guys back as healthy as possible. Obviously, this is the week when it all matters. So just trying to find ways to keep getting those guys back. Obviously, Zach's missed a little bit of time, and we're hopeful he'll be able to go.
Jordan, along those lines,
the last game we played obviously was at Soldier Field. Will it be weird at all that sort of your return to action, you're walking out of that same tunnel again? Have you thought about that at all?
No, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to go back there and, obviously get another opportunity.
What's unique about playing there?
I think any road environment is tough. It's a little bit different as offense, using silent cadence and things like that. It's going to be a loud environment. You got to find ways to be able to communicate still and, adapt to, just a different environment from being at home. But, I don't think, there's anything crazy unique. I think the weather is always a factor playing down there. Similar to here, it's going to be a cold atmosphere, going to be windy. So you just got to find ways to adapt and be able to overcome crowd noise, things like that.
Yeah, early in the season, the defense was really rolling, and you guys didn't have to go put up 30 points in any of those games to win. With the injuries they've had, do you feel the pressure offensively that you're going to have to really get cooking here?
No, I don't feel the pressure. I think the mindset we have as offense is, like I mentioned before, is we got to go down there and score. Every time we get an opportunity in the red zone, that's where we need to improve. That's where we need to be better than we've been the past couple of weeks. And, if we do that and go handle business, we'll be happy with the outcome.
Jordan, last year's regular season finale against the Bears, you watch Kristen go down, then you bang your elbow, got to play through that. How much better does it feel this time, kind of going in with your pieces, being healthy, even being rested than you did a year ago?
Yeah, no, it feels great. And, obviously that was the mindset of holding back the starters. Is a lot of that, came down to, that incident last year with Christian and losing him going into the playoffs, which was, very, very tough. So, to be able to rest some guys and, take a load off their bodies was, great. And I think, guys have been feeling fresh this week and flying around.
The flip side of that is, I know you say you're not worried about the rust, but it has been a long time since you have played, and you're going to have to turn that back on. How hard is that to do?
It's not hard. I don't think it's hard at all. I think, like I mentioned before, when you're practicing throughout the week, you still stay fresh. You're missing some time playing in a game, but, we played a lot of games this season. You got bank reps, but it'd be different if, you're not practicing throughout the week and, really not doing anything. That's when it could be a little bit more of a factor.
What is this today that Melton's going to IR? You call it a Swiss Army knife. What are you going to miss without Bo out there?
Yeah, Bo's done a lot of great things for the team, all throughout the season, and not stuff he does off the field, just the energy he brings every day. And it's tough to be able to lose a guy like that. And, obviously he stepped up, made some big plays on offense. And then, I think he plays every special team. So he's a guy who's always out there on the field and it's tough. But like we always mention, that's when other guys got to step up and have a bigger role.
What does this rivalry mean to you, Packers Bears?
Yeah, it's definitely, a rivalry game. I think since I've got here with the Packers, it's something that, you understand what it is, playing in this game. And, yeah, I think it's amped up over the years. And I think obviously with us splitting, going 1-1 on the season, it's going to be at an all-time high this week.
How do you grow to understand what it is when you didn't grow up here? You probably weren't interested in it until you got drafted.
Yeah, I think just being here, being with the team, we talk about it whenever it's Bears week, and just understanding, the history of the Packers and the Bears, the oldest, rivalry in the NFL. So I think, like you mentioned, it's something that, I wasn't even too familiar with before I got here. And then I think since I've been here, it's something you learn about.
I guess, what is it like for you? Obviously you guys have played a lot, but not as much in the playoffs as the Packers quarterback. What does it mean that you're going to be on this stage and playing in one of the biggest games in this rivalry in a long time?
Yeah, these are the moments, you want as a player. You want those big moments, a big rivalry game. Like you mentioned, we haven't met in the playoffs, and, I don't know when the last time was. And so, it's a big stage where, it's win or go home. And so this is what you want as a player, to be able to thrive in and go out there and play your best ball.
Hey, Jordan, when you were talking about your playoff history, you said, you're focused on now, but you also said that you learned from it. You made it look so easy in Dallas, and I know it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm wondering what your lessons were. Like, the mistakes that you learned from, were you trying to do too much? Like, what are the lessons you took that you're applying?
Yeah, I think every game, like I mentioned before, there's certain lessons. You look at the way the 49ers game ended, throwing a pick to end it, which is, it's a tough way to go out. And I think in that situation, there's so much good stuff to learn from in a 2-minute situation, understanding what the situation is, how much time's left, what the down and distance is, how much we need, and trying not to force a ball right there and make that play. And then, you look at the Eagles game, had a couple of turnovers in that game. So I think it just always comes down to taking care of the ball, playing your best as a quarterback, and putting the team in the best position.
If creating takeaways was easy, every defense would do it. Specifically, how do the Bears do it? How do they have some success at getting the football away?
Yeah, I think they got some good ball hawks over there at DB. I think guys that are making plays when the ball's in the air. They break on routes. They do a good job just understanding, what an offense is trying to do. And I think the way they tackle and try and rip the ball out and force those fumbles, I think it's just something that they probably harp on a good amount as a team and as a defense. And you see it with their play style, and they're always attacking the ball.
What about the pressure, I guess, that they bring to on defense? What was it like facing that the first full game and the time you played in that second game? Yeah,
no, they do a good job. They have a lot of different looks they get to. And some of their pressure patterns, and we'll have a good plan, going into it on how to pick some of this stuff up, and try and take advantage of it. But it's the same with any team that pressures. I think if you're able to beat it, some of that stuff might slow down, and if you're not, you're gonna keep seeing the same stuff. So we got to just find ways to go out there, execute, and take advantage of some of the pressures they might bring.
What's it been like since you announced that you're expecting? And how's knowing that you have a child on the way kind of change how you prepare and play football?
Yeah, no, it's it's awesome. It's something that we're very excited about, but it doesn't change anything with preparing for a football game at all.
Happy didn't have to hand off for 2 hours last week.
Hand off for 2 hours?
Well, Clayton was down.
Oh yeah. I'm happy about that for sure.
There you go. That's Jordan Love. A lot of congratulations. Obviously, he was making the announcement about the baby, but that's his presser with the media and the good back and forth. There's some good questions in there this time. Obviously the talk about, going back to Chicago, because the last time he was there, he, I hate to say got his bell rung, but that's something that's, I'm sure, in the back of his mind for a team. And I did like the fact, if you were listening, the fact that he was asked specifically about whether or not it was a dirty hit. And he just says it is what it is. In other words, what he doesn't say spoke as loud as what you would have liked to him to say. Just said it is what it is. We all know that. It was a dirty hit. Booker not once but twice went after him. So that's why this game, and I said this yesterday, specifically, you don't want to be the guy that retaliates. You want to be the guy that gives the extra little shove, plays a little bit beyond the whistle. You don't get penalized, but it's enough to anger or piss off the youthful team there, that being the Chicago Bears. But mark my words, Booker is a marked man. If there's an opportunity that somebody's going to take to get him, they'll get him because of what he did in the last contest. I guarantee you that's sitting up there. Guarantee you. All right, let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Good stuff listening to Jordan Love there. And when we come back, don't forget, bottom of the hour, Mike Renner from CBS Sports going to be joining us, and we'll get a chance to talk to him and kind of pick his brain. Wild card weekend, the Green Bay Packers, all that kind of good stuff. If you're looking for a big place to go and watch the game on Saturday night, maybe tonight, tomorrow night, whatever, check out our friends at Potawatomi, the hotel, the sports book. They have a huge monster screen down there, almost as big as I think it's bigger than the one in Jerry World, to be perfectly honest with you. When you walk in, it's mammoth place. Stop in and check it out. You can even place a wager or two. They've got good food, but it's just a fun environment to go and sit and watch a game. That is Potawatomi Sportsbook. Go to paysbig.com, paysbig.com.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Truck drivers, no matter where you want to take your career in 2026, Schneider has an opportunity for you. Our huge selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Looking for more reliability on the road? Check out our new dedicated and regional van truckload opportunities. Don't miss out. Find your perfect driving job today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Sometimes I get a good feeling. Yeah.
Bill Michaels Show. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at Big Boar Barbecue. BigBoarBBQ.com. That is BigBoarBBQ.com. Successful 2026 hopefully is on the horizon. Carter and his brothers, they own it, family owned, locally owned, right there in West Salem, Wisconsin. And whether it's the breakfast that they have now, or lunches, dinners, catering, whatever it happens to be, they also have just fantastic barbecue out there. Whether I like I usually like it really sauced up, but the dry rub ribs that they have, the golden mac and cheese and the coleslaw is fantastic. The pulled pork, the chicken, everything. It is really, really good. If you haven't tried it, I encourage you to do so. It's right off of 90, I believe, out there as you head over towards Minnesota and the La Crosse area in West Salem, to be exact. Lunches, dinners, catering, breakfast, you name it. They've got it. BigBoarBBQ.com. That is BigBoarBBQ.com. Somebody asked me, I don't know who it was, just a moment ago, said, is there a history between, Matt LaFleur and Mike McDaniel? Yeah, there is. As a matter of fact, they worked in Washington together. They were in Atlanta together. They're both out of the Shanahan coaching tree. I don't know how deep the friendship is. I know there's one there. As a matter of fact, I remember there's a story that goes way back. It was, I don't know where it was. It was like a reporter or something like that did. It was just kind of a really goofy little piece on the two where they did the kill, kiss, marry thing, or marry, kill, whatever the hell it is, whatever that little game is. And I remember that going way, way, way back. But yeah, they got a history. Now, there's nothing to say that Mike McDaniel's not a good offensive minded guy as maybe a play caller, but I don't know if you're going to find him in Green Bay. Maybe. If there's a change or something to be made there. We know Nathaniel Hackett is back, and he's been walking around the room. That's another thing that you heard from Jordan Love, that Hackett's been back and walking around the facility more than a few times. Come back and kind of lending a brain trust hand, if you will. So I don't think McDaniel is head coaching material. I think he's a very smart guy, but I look at him and you hear things about the control over meetings, the control over a team discipline. Guys kind of looking at him going, meetings, people weren't showing up, and then he's relying upon, at some point you got to have the cojones to be able to say, this is my team. And apparently in Miami, at least according to a lot of the rumors coming out at the beginning of the season, it wasn't. It was, if you want to say the inmates running the asylum, so to speak.
Do you think any of that was made worse by the fact that it's Miami and players always seem to not take it that seriously? And it's you know what I mean? Like, yeah. would Mike McDaniel have better command? He would still probably be a loose guy, but do you think he was up against it even worse because of the team and the market in which he was coaching? I do wonder about that.
I think there's some of that because of the mentality that is in Miami. But I also think that, look, would that fly under Bill Parcells or Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin, or, you know what I mean? I think it's tough because you've got the ability to have a nightlife and enjoy yourself out, and maybe it takes your focus away from football. I can understand that. But couldn't you say that anywhere? Couldn't you say that about LA? Couldn't you say it about San Fran? Couldn't you say it about Dallas? Couldn't you say, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot. Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I just think Miami's probably notoriously more so even than those spots. And again, the expectation in LA, San Francisco is that you're winning.
Right.
Like those are serious grown-up organizations. I don't think Miami's been thought of that way in a long time.
No.
It'd be like if you put the Jets on South Beach.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like nobody takes it seriously. And by the way, you're all millionaires and the beach and there's clubs and everything.
Well, here's the funny thing is where they play and practice is nowhere near a beach. It's, you're an hour away. You're between Miami and Lauderdale. You're stuck out in kind of the middle of nowhere. Now you're 30 minutes, 40 minutes from getting into the high rises, but you're not right there when you think about it. So, but I don't know. Look, you've got the Hard Rock Stadium and you got the Hard Rock Hotel and the giant guitar that's off in the distance. And, I guess I think also you have to have inside leadership. I think Tua has been basically an up and down quarterback.
They don't take him seriously.
No. And I think Tyreek Hill was problematic with some of the things that went on down there with him. I think sometimes the discipline starts at the top and that has to set your marching orders. And if it doesn't and they don't take it serious, then as a head coach, you're screwed.
If
are
your
just
best players
treading
and
water.
most highest paid players aren't your
Yeah.
hardest workers. Yeah.
Right.
And that's true in you hear every coach say that, but
Yep.
in Miami, that's especially true. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's 100% true. So Mike Renner, CBS, going to join us when we come back. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You know, the intensity of playoff games definitely amps up. And, you know, like I mentioned, it's win or go home. Everybody knows what's at stake. So, yeah, I mean, I think going into it, playing a team that, you know, it's going to be our third time playing them, third matchup. So the intensity will be there. You know, the emotions will be there. And it's a rivalry game and a playoff game at the same time. So everything will be there.
Welcome back in. Those are the words of Jordan Love, Packers quarterback. By the way, just to let you know, the Packers held a closed practice today. They went inside Lambeau Field. The reason why, Matt LaFleur said that the Hudson Center is in rough shape due to wear and tear because of the weather. So I don't, the Clark Hinkle Field outside of the Hudson Center, I should say. The Hudson Center is inside. The Clark Hinkle Field outside of the Hudson Center is in rough shape due to the wear and tear and the weather. And so he wanted to let everybody know that, hey, it's a closed practice, but we're going inside Lambeau Field to practice today. So that's where the Packers are practicing before they go through their walkthrough and everything today. And then they head tomorrow down to Chicago and then get ready for the game coming up on Saturday night, 7:00 Central Time down at Soldier Field, and where the Bears are going to be hosting the Green Bay Packers in the wild card game. This one's from Mark. Mark said, is there a possibility that the Packers would host a playoff game? No, because of the 7 seed. So no matter who they play, it is going to be a seed higher than them, and therefore that team would then be the home team. So before we get to Mike Renner, let's get to Terry. Been on hold a while in Green Bay. Terry, welcome to the program, man. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Bill?
Doing great. What you thinking?
Well, that interview with Jordan Love, when he was asked the question, did he learn anything through his past experiences? And he said, yeah, situational football. And that just took me. I was like, that is exactly what plagues the Packers and seems to be like game in and game out. Mm-hmm. When they play the porous, they're not playing the situational football. They're not understanding. You know, it seems like they're not mentally in the game. They're just playing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think they really need to get back to, okay, understand what play is it? What down is it? You know, how many yards is it? Where's my man? How do I, you know, my reads, all that kind of stuff. You know, they have to think, play in and play out. And, you know, you kind of hope that, we're past week 17 and the game has slowed down enough for everybody. And then just go out there and play. Just know your job. Understand it and do it.
I agree with that. The fact that he's got an awareness of that, I mean, I don't know what that's going to relate to. I couldn't tell you. But if it's at least a concentration of to say, hey, in this particular situation, in this particular situation, in this particular situation, here's what we want to do. Here's where our concentration should be. Here's what to avoid. I'm all for it. I think there's always a learning opportunity in every game. But it has been at times this season where we've looked at things and went, okay, they either didn't understand the situation, specifically in clock management, go back to the game against Dallas, and you just kind of know what you need to do, need not to do, and how to kind of, I guess, solidify the odds into your favor. It's not necessarily where you're going to, win a game, but you got to at least put the odds in your favor at points in this season where they just haven't been able to do it. And so hopefully situational football is something to learn from.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm even talking probably more so with the defensive side.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they try to do a little bit too much at times, and then at other times they just kind of mentally lose the focus on what they're supposed to be doing. And it's like, come on, guys, it's not really that hard. You just understand your job, understand the situation, and go attack the situation.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I appreciate the phone call. I agree with you on that. I thought the answer regarding the hit on him and basically stepping back and not answering the question, which spoke loudly, I thought that was solid. Obviously addressing, the off-field things with, the expecting of his new child and such, and the way he dealt with the concussion and some of the guys that are walking around the facility and, in different areas. And this was probably, to be honest with you, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it, this was about as relaxed as I can remember him being in a while. For lack of a better term, it's about as relaxed as I've heard him in a long time. If that makes sense. Jordan Love just seemed like he was cool. He's good. He's ready to go. Cool with it. So that was kind of a nice scenario, I guess might be the best way to put it.
The thing that jumped out to me was he was asked about rust, and this is the only answer. This is all he said. Hold on, I got to turn the sound on. My bad.
No, I don't have any concern about that.
Like, just very matter of fact. Like, no, not concerned about rust. Not concerned about lack of practice. He just seems very unbothered by it all.
Here's the thing. I don't worry about the rust factor because he wasn't out a long period of time. And in addition to that, he was practicing that week. He just didn't clear protocol. But it wasn't like he's been sitting around doing nothing.
Correct.
So that doesn't bother me.
It's not like he's been unable to run because he's in a cast or so. So sure, if you're not going to play in a full football game for a month, there are certainly worse ways. There are worse situations to be in than the one that he was in. Yeah.
Yeah. That didn't bother me too much. So I know some people are worried about it. Again, I'd be more worried about rust with Zach Tom for as much or as little as he's played in and out, because he's been banged up and he hasn't been able to be a full go for, straight weeks, so to speak. So that I get, but the rest of it, I don't worry too much. I don't worry too much about it. Not a major concern for me might be the best way to put it. 867-1670. So for those waiting for Mike Renner, we're going to try to get him back here towards the top of the hour. So don't go anywhere. We're going to try to get back into that. Just Mike's got some things going on, so we're going to get him on. So don't worry about it. But Mike will be joining us coming up a little bit later on today. So that's going to happen. I got some text messages too that I want to get to. Let's do this because people have been chiming in all over the place. By the way, I see that the merchandise is starting to arrive, which is great news. Great news. The merchandise for the Bill Michaels Show stuff is starting to arrive, which is awesome. Stephen Richfield, all excited. So the hoodie and the quarter zip, awesome. Thumbs up. I saw that. So there you go. Out of the 715, Bill, with all the head coaching openings, do you think Bill Belichick is going to be interviewed and or return to the NFL next season? Didn't Belichick close the door on that? Didn't he say he's not, which is funny because what's her name? Jordan what? I can't remember what his girlfriend's name is.
Jordan Hudson.
Jordan Hudson. Didn't it say that Jordan and I, which I thought was completely ridiculous, Jordan and I are not taking interviews? I'm thinking, Bill, where did your testicles go? I don't get it. I know his family doesn't get it. I know it's kind of good for him. Like if he's happy, be happy, go be happy. But when I heard that, I thought, well, are you kidding me? Jordan and I are not taking interviews? Man, what kind of naked goat farm animal pictures does she have on you? It's like, wow. She wears some major league pants in that family.
I feel like Belichick, the petty guy that he is, and he didn't get a job last year, was like, well, the NFL's stupid anyway. I don't want to go work for some snotty owner's kid.
Right.
But if an NFL team hired him, I think he would.
He'd go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think so. Which is not even that unique to him. I think anybody who'd coached in the NFL for a long time, they obviously want to coach in the NFL.
Yeah. But I was really kind of surprised at that. And it was in, it was one of the articles, you know how you pop up on Google and you got 30 articles there I was reading. And it said, yeah, Jordan and I, because I remember reading that and thinking, my God, you were the man. You were the guy that was in control of everything. Remember when you got so obstinate, you put your dog in the seat during the COVID draft? You know, like you've got so much control, you can just put your dog up there and think it's funny. And now you're the dog, man. Jordan's the one that's running the show. So boy, Bill, you've fallen off the pedestal a long way. That's for damn sure. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. What else do we have here for you? Ken in Scranton, PA said they need to have a few new packages for Malik Willis near the goal line whenever whether Love likes it or not. There's a lot of people clamoring for Malik Willis. Okay. Stephen Lacrosse, interesting comment in Love's presser. I'm not a vocal guy, but lead by example. This is what the coaches have been talking about, Stephen. Steve, I'm glad you caught that. This is what the coaches have been talking about. This is what Matt LaFleur talked about. He needs to be that leader. You can't just go and say, look at what I do. You're the guy that needs to tell guys, this is what I expect of you. I agree with you. And maybe that's what, when we talk about what we see, now perception becomes reality in a lot of different ways. And this might be a question more poignant for Mike Clemens, who's at practice almost every day. But this is where you need that. At times, Aaron Rodgers looked petty. We all understand that. But you knew you either did it right or you weren't getting the ball. You have to be on the same page with me. I'll go to you 3, 4, 5 times. But if you screw me over 3, 4, 5 times, you remember when he said, yeah, I heard he's a punt returner. Who was that? Who was the guy that he called just a punt returner? That was a wide receiver.
Amari Rodgers.
Amari Rodgers.
He's returning punts
for us. Amari Rodgers was supposed to be a wide receiver. And he couldn't get on the same page with Rodgers. And Rodgers basically said, you're done. Talk to you later. Jordan Love needs to be that kind of an ass, at least more than what he is. If you want to lead guys, you have to sometimes, you got to go down to their level because high tide raises all ships. Okay. You got to bring the level down, get under their ship and raise them up. But sometimes you got to drag them. You got to drag them kicking and screaming. If you're the guy that's considered the ass and they don't like you as a person, but they respect you as a player, that's your job. It's great to have a great relationship behind closed doors with everybody. But Julian Edelman will tell you, Gronk will tell you, they're great friends with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady got in their ass. No F's given, man. You are going to be in the right place at the right time, or you're not getting the ball, and I can use somebody different. And then at the end of the game, great game. Way to be. Great job. You know, it was all the positive things that they grew friendships because there was a level of respect there. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. So the great ones elevate everybody around them. They just don't walk out there and lead by example. They drag you kicking and screaming with them. That's what the great ones do.
And also, we always said that Aaron Rodgers led by example. I don't know that Jordan Love is good enough to just lead by example.
Right.
Like, I think he needs some of the other things because Rodgers could go out there and play such a brand of football where guys would have no choice but to, like, I'm going to follow that guy anywhere because he's doing things with the ball that I've never seen. Jordan Love's not quite that guy. So we need a little bit more intensity, I think, at times. I think you're right.
This is an interesting question, and I want to get into this, but this is from Len. Len says, do you think Jordan Love has that level of respect? He has not won an MVP. He's put up good numbers, but do the guys respect him on that same level? Maybe you have to earn that respect first and then become the vocal leader. It's kind of a chicken or egg question, right? I get it. I think if you are deemed the leader and you are playing well. Now, that's a good question. If behind closed doors, we see one thing and what's actually going on behind closed doors are another, where they can look in film study and go, yeah, you're not even hitting the open guy. You're missing this, you're missing that. There's a lot of fallibility on your end. Okay. That might be it. Then you just want to go out and lead by example and better yourself first before you start trying to better others. But I think you don't have to be nasty about it, but I think there has to be a demand of, hey, if we're going to get better, I need to get better and I need to get better. And this is how I need to get better. I need you to be better for me. And therefore it'll work for you too. The best relationships are the ones that are mutually beneficial. I talk about that like when we go out to clients all the time in advertising. There's clients that come to us and that say, hey, Bill, I'd love to be on your show. It doesn't fit. It wouldn't benefit you. It'd be taking your money. And I don't want to do that. And I don't want a reputation of failure. So there's people you like them, but you can't work with them because it's not going to be mutually beneficial. So I think that has to be something, the element that exists between the two as well. So I don't know. That's a great question. That's a really great question. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Hopefully we get Mike Renner back. We'll get him at the top of the hour. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over at the Water Doctors. The Water Doctors have the Connecticut water softening system, the best, hands down out there by any stretch of the imagination. I know I've had them. I've had, three others in a matter of 2.5 years because I was getting so upset with some of the other companies and their craptastic service and the product was not what they built it to be. And then I ran into our friends at the Water Doctors and the Connecticut water softening system, and that was like it. Bam. And they proved it to me. That was the other thing. They went, yeah, bring us the water. Here you go. And they did the measure test and said, here you go. Ours is better. And I became a believer. And then they put in the reverse osmosis at my house for me and Mickey and Elmo at the time. And I did. My son was younger at the time, drank a ton of water. Was an athlete, did a lot of running around, and it was like no brainer. The water doesn't have a taste. It's just refreshing. It's great. It's safe for the pets. No bacteria free for you, the kids, the whole thing. That was it. Bam. Connecticut. I went with them. Never looked back. Have never looked back. And if you want the same type of system, the same type of be able to put your head on your pillow at night and know that you're safe type of thing. You know what I mean? There's a satisfaction in that. That's Connecticut. Call the Water Doctors anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, 262-549-7733. 262-549-7733. Tell them you heard it here. 262-549-7733. And they'll get you that clean, safe water just like I have.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
So if Green Bay doesn't give the ball over, one, I don't think Chicago can cover them. They don't have enough people now that Green Bay's healthy with Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, Zach Tom on the offensive line. So they're healthy. Two, and let's be honest, okay? This is not hating. Eventually, in the playoffs, when your offense is inconsistent, and I feel this way about the Broncos as well, people, so don't just make this about Caleb and Chicago. When it's inconsistent, that bites you. There's only so many times over the course of a season when you can play inconsistent offensive football and still hang on to the end of the game miracle. It's just unlikely that is going to be a storyline in the playoffs versus high-end teams that are coached well.
Welcome back. That is the words of Dan Orlovsky, ESPN. And there's something to be said for that. He's right. Where, the inconsistency will rear its ugly head. Now, you can say the same thing about the Packers. You can say the same thing about the Packers because the Packers at times this year, and we talked about it time and again, have not played 4 full quarters of football. So you can talk about the inconsistency in that percentage, so to speak. But that offense for the Bears has been inconsistent. Their defense is certainly the consistency of the defense is the fact that they just basically give up points and yards. If Micah Parsons and Devontae Wyatt were playing in this game, I think hands down you'd probably be a touchdown, 6.5 point favorite. But because of that inconsistency, it's kind of a pick 'em game. But I think where you need more consistency is not out of the Bears. When you look at it's going to be quarterback play. Whichever quarterback plays more consistent, just better football and doesn't turn the ball over, I still say that's going to be the winner of this contest. Stay tuned. Mike Renner, CBS Sports, coming up next.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Zone Update.
Well, the Packers are closing in on their matchup against the Bears in the wild card round of the playoffs. They're going to head to Chicago tomorrow and then face off against their longtime rival on Saturday night at Soldier Field. The intensity in the rivalry going to take a jump or two, but Coach Matt LaFleur is trying to get his guys to treat it just like any other game.
I think the more normal you can make it, the better chance you have. Say, with all my experiences, you got to just do your job and focus on your job. And we know this. Like, anytime you're playing a really good football team, whether it's in the playoffs or in the regular season, every play is so critical.
Packers now have 16 players on injury reserve after Bo Melton was placed on there yesterday. But overall, the guys on the roster relatively healthy, including running back Josh Jacobs. He said yesterday that he's feeling the best he has since late November. He suffered a knee injury, kicked on Saturday night, set for Turning to Wisconsin, they continue to load up in the transfer portal and signed more than 20 guys so far, includes Missouri safety Marvin Burks Jr. last night. Players have until January 16th to put their name in the portal, but don't have to decide on a school by then.
Can you feel it? It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating 3. Yeah, you know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxe seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. Become a legend at Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info online. Must be 21 to enter casino.
Well, Giannis Antetokounmpo says he will never request a trade from the Bucks. He told The Athletic that it is just not in his nature to do so. Milwaukee's still out west. They're going to be back in action tomorrow night when they take on the Lakers. And Wisconsin back on the practice floor today. They're going to head to number 2 Michigan coming up on Saturday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Welcome in. Bill Michaels Show. We're past the halfway point. Thursday edition. Packers getting set to take on the Chicago Bears.
What's up, Bears? Still suck.
Down in Chicago coming up this weekend, and the Packers just at this point trying to stave off elimination. And I don't want to say shock the world, because I think there's a lot of people looking at the Bears saying the Bears have a ton of pressure on them just because they have got to be, because they're in essence, they're playing with house money. But if you really want to get past Big Brother, you got to beat Big Brother in the postseason. I do find some of the takes rather interesting when it comes to how the Packers need to win. And look, Jordan Love in the last few playoff games, he's turned the ball over. I think you don't turn the ball over, I don't think Chicago has enough to stay with the Packers. That's just my opinion. I think the Packers can win the game. Packers turn the ball over, everything changes. Everything changes. You just need a semblance of defense. Slow down their run game. You're not going to stop it. Just slow it down. Try to contain and keep them in the pocket and make them think in Caleb Williams, and then just do your thing on offense, and you can win the game. Packers have basically beaten the Bears 7 out of the 8 quarters that they played this year. Now they just need to finish it off. So that's why I think the Packers can win. And they've been there, done that. They can go down there and stop this, where the Bears are going to be completely amped up because they're believing in somewhat of a Cinderella season. Joining us on the hotline, Mike Renner, CBS Sports, NFL draft analyst and such. Joining us now. Mike, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Bill.
So the assessment that I just gave, is there anything there you disagree with?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you go look at those past 2 games against the Bears, and they were the better team. I think even in both games, they were the better team. Controlled the ball. And I think, as much as they are on, a 4-game losing streak going into this, the last 3 games that the offense was out there, the last 3 games before the Vikings game, they punted the ball once. I mean, this offense might be the best offense in the NFC. And for as much as everyone wants to talk about Micah Parsons on the other side of the ball, it's like you can still win games through scoring points. And I think this team can score points on anyone.
I think for Packers fans, the anxiety is don't lose to the Bears. I mean, what happens if they go on to Seattle? We'll wait and see. But if they just don't lose to the Bears. So I'm thinking to myself, and I agree with you, by the way, I just look at this offense and I think they got guys some rest. They're getting their right tackle and Zach Tom back. Anthony Belton has been a road grader since they inserted him, and he's getting better each and every game. Jordan Love is coming back with fresh legs and obviously a clear head. You've got all your wide receivers back. To me, I'm thinking to myself, short of missing Tucker Kraft, you're even going to have a fresh Josh Jacobs. I think you're okay going into this game. And like you said, if you can just be offensively good, they should be able to win this game.
Yeah, and I think specifically against the Bears and why they fared so well offensively the other 2 times is the Bears can't rush the passer. They have their 29th in pressure rate this season, and the Packers offense, you just look at Jordan Love splits, he is number 1 in the NFL when kept clean in terms of passer rating, in terms of EPA per drop back. When you can protect Jordan Love, they move the football. Now it's when pressure hits, he's been very bad this year, probably his worst year under pressure, but I don't think the Bears with Zach Tom back are going to get too much pressure on Love.
Mike, why has he been so bad under pressure?
It's tough. I mean, pressure is finicky. I think he's been too aggressive. Like all his bad decisions seemingly have come under pressure. I think some of it's been he's been banged up too. With that shoulder he had at one point during the season that kind of lives in the back of your head when pockets get tighter. So it's hard to say because years past, I think that was one of his strong suits, his ability to navigate tight pockets. But this year specifically, it's been ugly.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's kind of a tale of two cities, man. It's either the really, really, really high or the really, really low that has been, and the low has at times kept them from advancing in some of these games. And I completely agree. Go back to the Cleveland game where they had Myles Garrett and company putting all kinds of pressure on him, and he just wasn't able to get that offense moving. It was very, very stagnant. I want to ask you about the defense. Obviously, you mentioned the lack of Micah Parsons. We understand that. But this team has really relied upon a guy like Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness. They lost Devontae White in the middle, which I think is a completely underrated loss that nobody talks about because that was their run stuffer. That was the guy that could give you pressure in the middle. Talk defensively with me about how this team is right now without Micah, obviously lesser, but really what they need to do to be able to kind of contain Caleb Williams or make at least this offense under Caleb Williams struggle.
Yeah, I agree 100% about your take about Wyatt because I think part of the secret sauce to this defense was they can create chaos up front. They don't have big guys, right, on the interior. They are very light. I think, everyone pretty much goes under 300 pounds. They don't have like a true nose tackle to hold the point. And so they need guys to live in the backfield. And Wyatt was one of those guys that, when you have four guys, when one's Wyatt, one's Parsons, like one of them is going to create havoc and then cause, the runs to bounce wide. And that's when those linebackers can clean it up. Now they just don't have that necessarily. And so they're just whether it's Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, those guys aren't those sorts of players. They're more like, let's hold on to a block and force it to someone else. And there's just no one else coming, unfortunately, right now. They need someone to be a playmaker up front, and they're missing those in both the interior and on the outside. So I think it's going to have to come via just resources. You're going to have to put safeties down in the box. You're going to have to do all you can to stop the running game because I would much rather go down Caleb Williams, kind of the way they did last time, big plays down the football field, try to make him get those because he's been so sporadic at that. Then just let them run the ball 50 times for 200 yards on you.
The secondary of the Bears getting a little bit healthier at the right time. There's still question marks offensively about Trapillo, their left tackle. Obviously, Adunze as well. Whether or not they're going to be in this game, I would assume they would be, but we'll have to wait and see. But they've got C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. They have got their corner, Nashawn Wright, back. They've got these guys. The only guy that's right now wondering if he's going to play is Nick McLeod. But everybody's kind of back. How good is this secondary to throw against?
Yeah, they're very much a ball hawking secondary. They have a lot of guys who are very intelligent that will bait you into doing things that, maybe you didn't quite see it the first time around, and the second time you run the concept, they jump it. So they are very heady on the back end, and so that's the worry. I mean, they led all the NFL this year in terms of turnovers generated. You just have to be on your P's and Q's when attacking the secondary. I don't think they're a great matchup secondary in terms of if they go man coverage, in those third and medium situations where you kind of have to. I think these Packers receivers will get open. It's more just the early downs when you think you got something down the football field more often than not. They're very good at closing those windows in zone coverage.
The people talk about, well, you can't count on turnovers, but they have. Now, if you look at the games that they've lost, they've only garnered 3 turnovers out of the 6 losses. So if they don't get them, chances are they're not going to win the game. But turnovers has become a part of their game. So in essence, do you say you can count on turnovers because they're that good and they're that creative?
I think turnovers are often player driven. You have players who are playmaker types, like Trayvon Diggs, who on this Packers side, like he over the course of his career is a playmaking type. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be consistently sticky in man coverage, but he will jump 1 or 2 here and there. That's what the Bears have, whether it's Kevin Byard, whether it's Nashawn Wright, like they have playmaker types. They can also kind of sometimes take advantage of those guys. So I think the emphasis is they're susceptible. This isn't a great all-around defense. This is an opportunistic defense. Don't give them the opportunities.
I want to go around the rest of the National Football League. I want to look at some of these things too. You got the Rams on the road taking on the Panthers. That's the early game on Saturday. Who do you kind of give the edge to? You're going to get Devontae Adams back, and certainly in the red zone, he has been a monster for Matthew Stafford. Who do you give the edge to in that game?
Yeah, I mean, the Rams, they're just a much better all-around football team. They have a quarterback playing at a much higher level. I think the only interesting thing of note that could give the Panthers a chance is that the Rams starting corners are both 180 pounds. The Panthers 3 deep at wide receiver are all 212 plus pounds. Like, there is a big difference on the outside. That's why the first time around they had so many big plays, is that they could just physically outman those Rams corners. So that's really the only thing that, as a Panthers fan, would give me hope, but I think that one's the biggest mismatch of the first week of the playoffs here.
You got the Bills on the road taking on the Jaguars. The Jaguars have won 8 in a row. The Bills, we always say, boy, Josh Allen, and then after that, you kind of draw a blank. It's not like they've got a deep pool of talent there. And you would assume with Josh Allen under center and no Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow, you don't have those guys. The only guy that's really of ilk that's standing in the way right now would be, say, Aaron Rodgers, and I still don't have a lot of belief in Pittsburgh. I just don't know if I have a lot of belief in the Bills,
No, I'm right there with you. This might be their easiest road in terms of top competition. In the AFC, there's no great team, but it's also Josh Allen's worst supporting cast, I think. Like, there are no receivers there. There's no Stephon Diggs walking through that door. Their defense this year has been so banged up and is banged up heading into this game. So if they win, it's going to be Josh Allen going superhuman, but I don't know if they will. I think this Jags team is just too well coached on both sides of the ball.
What has turned that Jags team around? I mean, obviously, Cohen has been fantastic. And in the beginning, I really appreciated kind of where he came from, because they weren't winning. And he said, you need to stay with the process. Just stick with me and we're going to be okay. And they have been. So what has turned this team around?
It has been coaching. That's about as evident a team as I've ever seen in how much coaching matters. Because you look at last year versus this year, what's the difference on that roster? There's almost no difference. It's the same team. There's no rookies making an impact right now. There's no big free agents they went out and signed. It's the same guys. They're just being put in better situations. So it really, their lack of success last year and success this year, it just goes to show you how much adults in the room matters on both sides of the ball, and that's what they got now.
You got the 49ers heading into Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. I think both teams are somewhat of an enigma right now. The defense of the 49ers down the stretch somewhat faltered after getting so much praise without Warner and Bosa and company. And the Eagles have been up and down all season long. Who do you give the edge to there?
This one's tough because it seemingly doesn't matter who the Eagles play. Their offense is going to look the exact same. Like, they can play great defense, they can play terrible defense, and they'll score 17 points, right? So It's hard to say, but they have such a good defense themselves that I think it kind of looks like the last time we saw the 49ers in Week 18 against the Seahawks, where they're just going to get suffocated offensively, especially if Trent Williams may not play in this game, Ricky Pearsall may not play in this game as their left tackle, probably their best wide receiver at this point. If those two guys don't go, I just don't know if they can move the ball against that Eagles D.
You got to the Patriots, who are seemingly back. For those that don't believe in Drake May, I mean, you haven't watched him because the guy's really, really good. Now, you mentioned Stephon Diggs earlier. You do have the legal ramifications hanging over his head right now, but the Patriots seem to be firing on all cylinders. Meanwhile, the Chargers, they've been up and down, and every time I start to believe in them, they just turn around and let me down. They've got to go West Coast, East Coast out to take on New England. Where's the edge there?
This one's tough because the Patriots are – I believe in Drake May. I think he is an exceptional – I think he should be the MVP this year. But I don't know if the rest of the team is really this good. They've won 14 games, but they beat one team that's above 500 this year. And they also lost that team. It was the Buffalo Bills. That's the only team they beat that was above 500. So this will be the second time. It will be their second opportunity to beat one. I think the good news is for them, the Chargers just don't have any offensive tackles at this point. They may be down their 3 top tackles in this game. And if that's the case, I just find it difficult to believe the Chargers can win a playoff game on the road in New England.
And then last but not least, you got the Texans on Monday night going into Pittsburgh to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Now, they're going to have DK Metcalf back, obviously. But that defense, I said, man, if Aaron Rodgers is upright coming out of that game, it'll be an absolute miracle, because Danielle Hunter just it's kind of like the fountain of youth. He's just getting after it down there.
Yeah, I mean, this wouldn't surprise me if the Steelers don't score. They look tough offensively right now, especially when they didn't have DK Metcalf. But even with him back, it's like, is he going to beat Derek Stingley Jr. consistently? I don't think so. No one has all season. So Texas defense is just too good right now. I think Pittsburgh's got a really big uphill climb in that game.
I agree with you. Go back to the Packers and the Bears. When you look at these two teams, who you got coming out?
I think the Packers, I think the Bears will be able to run, but I think the Packers will be able to pass. And usually you look at what creates more wins. It's the team that passes the ball effectively. I just think they move the ball really easily through the air in this one.
I kind of agree with you. I picked the Packers to win, but I look at the explosivity numbers and the fact that they've got so many explosive plays throughout the season. I think they're like third best when it comes to the difference between plays given up versus plays that are garnered. They're third best. And the other two teams that are ahead of them are Seattle and New England. So I'm like, yeah, they should have an opportunity to win this game. But then again, they also had Micah Parsons for most of the season. Mike, great stuff as always. We certainly appreciate it. And we'll get you on again real soon, okay?
For sure, Bill. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, pal. Talk to you soon. There you go. Mike Renner running around the NFL wild card weekend and such, giving us kind of his thoughts. And I agree with him on a lot of that stuff. I really do. And this is the reason when I look at it and I think to myself, why are the Green Bay Packers going to win this game? And you look at just the explosivity numbers. If you keep, and this is where Zach Tom can come in and be helpful, if you can keep the Bears defense off of them, I think he will pick this defense apart. I think that they can make it a passing game. It doesn't necessarily bode well for the Packers defensively speaking, but if you, the key word, and I can't remember who he had on earlier this week that said, and maybe it was Mark Schofield, if you make Caleb Williams, if you keep him in the pocket and make him think about it, you got a real good chance of winning the game, because his accuracy from in the pocket is below 55%. He's just not great. Very good quarterback on the run, very good quarterback when the chips are down and he doesn't have to think and he just goes and lets it wail. Very good. So if you can keep in the pocket, get a big lead, make them think about it, you got a really good chance at beating this team. And I think that's what it's going to come down to be quite honest with you. So good stuff from Mike Renner. Certainly appreciate his time being here. This portion of the program brought to you by our buddy Dwayne, and Dwayne's Cover It All. D-U-A-N-E-S, Dwayne's Cover It All, coveritall.com. And whether it's a boat cover, upholstery, bimini top, mooring cover, whether you got gym equipment you want to get recovered, which is relatively easy, office furniture, rather than going out and buying all new, you can get office furniture. Maybe you got an heirloom piece, something. You just need it fixed, need it recovered. That's Dwayne's Cover It All. Maybe you got something for like your patio furniture. You just take a measurement around it. How big do you need it to be? How deep do you need it to be? He can help you out there as well. There's so many things that people have thought of to add something to or to cover your patio or whatever. He can do it. Go to Dwayne's, D-U-A-N-E-S, Dwayne's Cover It All.com or calling directly 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. Again, 715-870-2119. That is Dwayne's Cover It All.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Hopefully you are enjoying the program today. I know we are. Having fun. Always have fun here. Always. Hey, man, if you're going to do something maybe this Saturday night, you're going to sit down, you're going to watch a Packers game, little meal and feast ahead of time, or you want to do something for the game, got some people coming over, watch some Packers-Bears playoffs, I can recommend a couple of things. First of all, the ribs on a stick or the bacon-wrapped jalapeno poppers. Oh, so good. Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. That's where you get it. The Al Capone roast, the garlic parm chicken skewers, or those jalapeno, the bacon-wrapped jalapeno poppers. Oh, my God, so good. So good. Or maybe you're just going to make something tonight or over the weekend, Sunday dinner, whatever. Check out Robert's Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com on Sunset Drive in Waukesha. Robert's is your hometown butcher. So good. So good. Enjoyed Mike Renner from CBS joining us for a couple of minutes.
He gave us like at least one or two nuggets that were really good on every single game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the matchup details for this and that. I thought the Eagles point was an awesome one. It doesn't matter if they play a great defense or an awful, they're scoring 17 points.
Right.
Like that does sum up the Eagles experience pretty well.
Which I completely agree with. The JMK says another thing nobody's hardly talking about is the Bears. They've created 33 turnovers this season to our 14. That's all we've talked about, JMK. That's all we've talked about. We've said if you don't turn the ball over, you can win the game. Packers don't garner turnovers. And the Bears have garnered more turnovers than anybody. I think the next closest team is 27? I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and take a look. But, yeah, the Bears have taken the ball away prolifically. Now, that's when I asked Mike Renner, I'm like, look, that's a statistic that many people in the business will agree. It becomes part of a pedigree, but you can't count on it. You worked at your craft to make it happen, but that's one where you also have to have either a quarterback or a ball carrier cough it up. They have to become prone to that. And I also said, look at the games in which they didn't get turnovers. In the 6 games they lost, they only had 3 turnovers. So if they don't get them, they don't win. So that's why when, you're the Bears, you're looking at it going, boy, we get a couple of turnovers, we're going to win the game. Because there's that, first of all, it does 2 things. First of all, it gives you the ball, okay? It stops a drive and gives you the ball. That's number 1. Number 2, it gives you momentum. Those are momentum plays. So it gives you that a shot of adrenaline to say, okay, here we go. Now we got it. We've turned the tide. Here we go. And it changes the drive structure, if you will, especially if you get them in the first half and you get 2 bites at the apple and possibly flip the table on a team that defers and takes the ball in the second half and thinks that they're going to get that score before half and then the first score coming out of the second half. If you take that ball away, it changes that rhythm. So there's a lot of things that turnovers do that are hidden within a game. But we all know if you win the turnover battle, chances are you win the game. And they've been very, very good at it. But the ones where they did not win the turnover battle, they were losing those games. So you can look at it and say, well, they've created a ton of turnovers. But if you don't get them, you don't win. So I don't know if you can count on that. You know what I mean? Even though they've done it at a really good clip this season. John says, yeah, the Packers need to get the turnovers in the playoffs. You'd like to say that, but I guess my question would be, what makes you think that now is going to be the time when the Packers suddenly get the turnovers? They've had an entire season. They worked on this. Remember what was it? The Ball King?
That's what's so funny. Is this was like their thing coming into the year.
The Ball King was going to be the guy that was going to keep track of all the turnovers and, and on and on and on. The Ball King. And it just has not materialized at all. Nowhere near the way you thought it would be for the Packers this season to come away with turnovers. It just hasn't happened. So, yeah, I guess. I mean, you'd like to think that maybe something tracks in a positive direction. The Bears are plus 22. They had 33 turnovers. I was mistaken. The Houston Texans were number 2 with 20. Let's see here. No, the Jaguars, actually. The Jaguars had 31 of them. The Texans had 29. The Steelers had 27. You go all the way down to Green Bay, who was 6th worst in the National Football League. They were 26th ranked. They had 14 turnovers, but they were tied with Denver, who only had 14, Packers, Tennessee, Kansas City. All those teams only had 14 turnovers.
The interesting thing, and I played you a little bit of that Orlovsky sound. We can circle back to that. And he mentioned it, not in the part of the clip that I played. The Bears led the league in turnovers, right?
Right.
The next 2 closest teams are Jacksonville and Houston, but those 2 teams rushed the passer.
Yes.
Those two have like good defensive personnel and do all of the other things that lead to turnovers, where the Bears don't. Now they're good at forcing turnovers for other reasons, but they're not, traditionally the type of defense that you would look at and say, oh, they're going to force a lot of turnovers because they rush the passer or because they cover really well or things like that.
Yeah, the Bears had 23 interceptions. They only created 10 fumbles. Jacksonville had 22 picks, 9 fumbles. The Chargers, 19 picks, 4 fumbles. The Texans, when you go to the Texans were 19 picks, 10 fumbles. 19 picks, 10 fumbles. Pittsburgh was 15 picks, 12 fumbles. And Pittsburgh, most of their fumbles, well, don't forget 5 of them were in one game. But 12 fumbles, that means they were getting to the quarterback and punching the ball out or grabbing it from running backs for the most part. So that they were a little more balanced defensively, them and Houston. Whereas the Packers had 7 picks and 7 fumbles, but only 7 picks. How many balls this year hit the Packers secondary right in the hands? I can think of there's probably 5 more occasions out there where the Packers could have had a shot, had legitimate shots at turnovers.
There might be close to 5 in certain games, like the Giants game or the Broncos game. There might be 3, 4, or 5 in each of those games individually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was more than a few times where, it hit them right in the chest, and they just never came up with it. They are not a good hands team by any stretch of the imagination. Otherwise, that even turns the tide. They had a couple of them. They dropped a couple on Flacco. As a matter of fact, in that game against Cleveland, that would have turned the tide. So anyway, but you're right. Look, the turnovers are a big deal. They're a huge deal. The Bears get 30 turnovers in their 11 wins, 3 turnovers in their 6 losses. If they don't get them, that defense is not good enough to sustain. That's probably the why in that discussion that we heard with Dan Orlovsky a little bit earlier, why they just believe no, if you can't count on it. And if you don't get it, you don't have enough to back up, just defensively speaking, to keep teams out of the end zone. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. Get your thoughts on all of this. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We still got an hour and a half yet to go and a lot more to get to. More from inside the Packers locker room as well. All of our guests appear on the Schneider Big Orange Hotline. Always great to have Schneider on board if you're looking for a new gig or a gig in general. Check out our friends at Schneider. Go to schneiderjobs.com. That's schneiderjobs.com, or call them 800-44-PRIDE. That is 800-44-PRIDE.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Phil Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You know what that means. You know what that means, right? Yeah. Tonight, you can indulge shrimp and chicken tonight. Shrimp and chicken tonight at Curly's. Yeah. Plus, in addition to that, you've also got sports on the tube tonight, Thursday. So you got chicken Alfredo, you got the shrimp and chicken, you got all that kind of good stuff. And college football playoff games, our game tonight, trivia night today as well. They've got different tickets to give away, Marquette tickets, Admirals tickets, Bucks tickets, all kinds of good stuff with the chicken Alfredo. Throw it all in there, and it's a good time. That's right there at Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill, right there on Pewaukee Lake, Lakeview Boulevard in Pewaukee. You can find them at curlyswaterfront.net if you choose to do so. But Curly, great place. A lot of fun, and it's kind of like going to an up north lodge, to be perfectly honest with you. So
did they peel the shrimp before serving? Just asking for
a friend?
Anyone who, coworker, friend.
I don't know.
Matter.
That's a great question. I don't know. I've never had it. You know what I eat it when I go to Curly's? There's two things I get. They've got a buffalo chicken wrap. That's fantastic. I love that. But they have got, hands down, and I know you look at me and you go like, Bill, really? They have got the best chef salad ever made. The best, hands down, the best. I get that every time I go there, damn near. Every now and then I'll get the wrap, maybe a burger, because they've got pretty good burgers over there and they're pretty thick. But I love their chef salad. That is my go-to destination. Everybody around me goes, no, the best salad, you got to go to Olive Garden. To hell with Olive Garden. Go to Curly's. Best chef salad you're ever going to have in your life. That's one of the reasons I go there. I mean, that and Ryan's a good dude. And the people over there are great. But yeah. That's it.
Oh my God, they have crab rangoon nachos. I was looking for a picture of the chef salad on the menu, and they don't have it, but they got a picture of the crab rangoon nachos.
Yeah, they got that too. I've had that. That's actually really good. I forgot about that.
I don't understand. There's no world in which that could not be anything other than amazing.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yep.
I'll take 10, please.
Yep, absolutely.
No, I'm just looking at the menu. I haven't had lunch yet. They have a crab rangoon pizza. Okay. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn my camera off.
And when you used to live in that area, it wasn't far from you. Did you ever go there?
No, we went there. Didn't we? Where did we go? We took the RV there, didn't we?
Not to Curly's. Curly's is right there on Pewaukee Lake, and it's like up on a little bit of a hill. So I could never take the RV there.
Where did we go then?
With the
Sobelman's?
No, we didn't go to Sobelman's.
Well,
did we go smoke on the water?
No, well, I've been to all these places. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out the place that we went to. All right, I'll look into this. This is a me project. I don't need to bog you down on air with this.
And
I think it was Menominee Falls.
I should remember. Menominee Falls Social House.
I think that might have been it. Yeah. With the pancakes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was me and you and Brian and Kristen when we did our inaugural RV trip. Yeah, we went to Social House because we parked down the street because we couldn't fit the RV in their parking lot. We went and saw Dan and them. Yes, that's where we went. No, Curly's is cool. You'd like it because it's like a lodge. It's all wood on the inside, that white pine, and it's big A-frame type of building. It's really cool. It's a cool place. So anyway, I've gone on too long about it, but there you go. What else do we have here? Out of the 608, hey, Bill, which team do you think the Chicago weather with 20-plus wins affects more? The kicker still scares me. I think either kicker is really good. Santos and McManus both really good. I don't worry about them, and it is what it is. I think it probably. Jordan Love's got a strong arm. He can cut the wind. Although in the last game, you heard Matt LaFleur in the press conference the other day say, "Yeah, I mean, there was one that Jordan threw into the end zone. The ball just basically went right on him." Both quarterbacks will struggle. Both quarterbacks have strong arms. Caleb Williams he's got a strong arm. I don't question his arm because he can flick it and get rid of him. Did you ever see the guy on the run? I mean, he's got a strong arm.
It's a lot like Rodgers, honestly. They're built kind of differently. They don't aesthetically look exactly the same, but he can be running for his life and all of a sudden just flick his arm and that thing sails 40 yards down the sideline.
Right. Out of the 920, two quick things. Carolina Bob. First, via Chicago Bears now podcast, Roma Dunze looks like he is in, but could be somewhat limited. Also, I hope the Packers don't have to rely too much on the passing game based on the forecast. Screenshot courtesy of WGN. We know it's going to be iffy weather with 10 to 13 mile an hour sustained, gusts up to 30. That's what they're predicting right now. So, and the wind in Soldier Field is goofy. It just is. I have never been able to consistently predict that. It's just goofy because if it comes off that lake, it's got a weird swirl to it. The only thing you can understand is if it comes out of the northwest, it hits that facade and kind of swirls everything. If you're going to the south end zone, it swirls it off to the right. If you're going to the right either way, put it that way. Because if you're going to the north end zone, it'll blow it off to the right as well. It's consistent in that. Like in Lambeau, if the wind is from the south, then now inside the stadium, the wind is actually from the north because it hits that facade and kind of comes back. Whereas it's more of a blow through at Soldier Field. But if you get, because I think the wind is supposed to be out of the northwest, which tends to get knocked down a little bit by some of the taller buildings, just we'll say up airstream level. But if it's coming off the lake from the southeast or the east, it's brutal. It's brutal because it's just all over the place and it's unobstructed. The only thing that's in the way is the stadium. So it's just different. Just in the 20-something years I've been going there. This is my 26th season, 27th season of Packers football. So 26 years of going there. It's just different. But if you're not getting huge gusts, it's not that bad. 10 to 15 miles an hour, Packers can handle that. That's not a major ordeal. 877-867-1670. What else do we have? Ryan and Manthorpe said, I thought you mentioned Williams is better on the run than in the pocket and completion percentage. If you are Hafley, would you do zone Tampa 2 type of defense on occasion bringing a blitz? No, if he is on the run in the latter portion of the game, he has been good. The problem is if you keep him in the pocket and you collapse the pocket on him and as they all say, make him think about it, what seems like easy throws at times, he's inexplicably bad. Watch him, I don't know if they're going to show it, but when I've been there and I'll see the game, but when you watch him in warm-up, like when the teams come out for practice prior to the game, just a warm-up, right? When they come out, Jordan Love will take the snap, drop back, couple of steps, 2-3 steps, and throw the ball. Drop out, couple of steps, throw the ball. Just warming your arm up, just getting a sense for the wind. He'll throw some lob passes into the corner of the end zone. He'll throw some deep darts, and he'll throw some, intermediate passes. Caleb Williams comes out. He practices on the run. He'll take a snap and run, like literally just run, take off running and throw the ball. It's almost like you're wearing yourself out before the game. He'll start out doing it off to the left because you're throwing with the right arm. That's where it's the most comfortable. And then he'll do it to the right. And then he kind of changes his arm angles a little bit. I've never seen a quarterback practice on the sprint, on the run, throwing the football. That's where he tries to, because he can create so much with his feet and his athleticism. So, which is kind of something that I'd love to see Jordan Love do a little bit more of. But again, you don't want to get him hurt, but Caleb Williams, man, he loves to use the athleticism and create and then look downfield. Specifically, there's a switch that flips late in the ball game where you stop thinking about it and you just got to do it. You got to go, you're not thinking about plays right now. You're just about get rid of the football, go, go, go. And he's better in that circumstance for whatever reason, because maybe you're not thinking about it. That's the reason we had a couple of people say, no, if you put him in the pocket, you make him think about it, he's not nearly as accurate. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Some good stuff today, though. Really good stuff today. Corey says, the Packers, he said, hey, please explain to me why Booker and the hit on Jordan Love was dirty, because he would have hit him in the chest if Love didn't lower his helmet. The hit was dirty because you cannot launch yourself leading with the crown of your helmet. And he did it not once, but twice. In the old days, it was called spearing. That's what he was doing. He was launching himself. He was out to put his helmet through somebody's chest and or face. And anytime you get up around the head and neck area, they're going to call it every time, and it's a dirty hit. And oh, by the way, the NFL agreed, and everybody watching it agreed. It wasn't just Packers, reporters or anybody. I mean, the broadcast said, yeah, that's not a good hit. And short of going, that's a dirty hit and really ripping a guy, they said it twice. That's not a good hit. That's not what you do. When you launch yourself with the crown of your helmet down, that's not the way to go. So that's the reason it was considered a dirty hit. Or cheap shot, I guess. Tim says, and that was Booker's cheap shot of the game. He got a penalty for roughing earlier. Dirty player. Dwayne says, no mention of the wind gust. It is the Windy City. Yeah, I get that. But when you're going to have weather that's going to be moving in and a front is moving in, going from 41, 42 degrees, bringing it down to 27, 28, the possibility of a rain-snow mix, and behind that front comes wind, it does change things. It does change things. Ewar says, well, Favre never met. Here we go. Favre never missed a game. Jordan can't stay healthy for an entire season. No quarterback in today's day and age stays healthy for an entire season. And by the way, Ewar, with the new concussion protocols, there would have been many games that Brett Favre would have missed.
That was going to be my question. How many games do you think Brett Favre would have missed
there would have been
today's era?
There would have been many. There would have been many. Favre didn't miss it for the busted up thumb. Neither did Jordan Love. The groin injury, the knee injury, yeah, he missed for that.
He played through it mostly last year.
For the most part, he played through it. He missed, what, 1 or 2 games? That was it?
Missed 2 games with the knee. He had to leave early with the groin, but I think he was back the next week. So it's not like he hasn't played through injuries.
Right. But Favre would not have made it to the Ironman had the concussion protocols been in place the way they are today. It would never have happened. I can think of a couple. I mean, there was one down in Tampa Bay. Favre got rung up. Everybody knew it. He even talked about it. He was just, didn't remember it, glassy-eyed, the whole thing, but nobody was going to tell him to stay out of the game. In today's day and age, the doctor walks over and looks at you and says, okay, you're done. So concussion protocol has changed a lot in the last decade. And Favre would have never had that record the way it is. So, and Mike's right. Favre, according to Favre, he had hundreds of concussions, some major, some minor, and he's kind of paying for it health-wise now, which is why things are so dramatically different. This is Greeny. Greeny says, hey guys, do you think that the Bears are looking at the Green Bay Packers saying all we have to do is rush Jordan Love, and Jordan Love is going to make enough mistakes to where we can get 1 or 2 turnovers, and that's the easiest path to win the game? Greeny, absolutely. I mean, we just talked about it. I mean, he's a different quarterback on the run with pressure versus standing tall in the pocket. I mean, that is going to be the methodology with which you're going to try to win this game. Now, the difference is, can you do it? Can you get Montez Sweat? And I mean, their biggest threats, in my opinion, is Dexter up the middle, Montez Sweat, and then Booker. That's the way you rattle Jordan Love, especially if you can't handle Booker coming off the right defensive end. So you've got a monumental task at hand. If you can keep Booker out and Sweat out, then all day long, man, all day long. Plus, the way to negate that is quick hitters. Quick hitters. You've got your pretty much, for the most part, your full complement of wide receivers in this contest. Quick hitters, man. That's the way to go. Quick out to Christian Watson, or a quick, slant that you can toss to him, or Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, whatever. Dontavian Wicks, a little bit of a question mark coming into this game. Zach Tom still on that sheet, if you will. But you've got 4, 5 really good wide receivers. I don't know about Keeney James, but Matthew Golden, Dontavian Wicks, Watson, Dobbs, Reed, just quick hitters, man. And even to a certain extent between Wiley and Musgrave. And Wiley's back from the concussion protocol. So you got a couple of tight ends you can actually throw to. So, and don't forget Josh Jacobs or Emmanuel Wilson out of the backfield. Quick hitters will negate that pass rush. It'll keep them back on their heels a little bit. And then it sets it up to where you can go deep. And they're one of the most explosive teams in the National Football League. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. Finest, love to hear from you more. The Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you. 2026, we wish it is going to be a tremendous year for you and yours. Fulfilling so many different ways. However, if it's not, for whatever reason, if something happens and you need to call an attorney, hopefully it's more for just a contract because you're starting some new venture. But nevertheless, Brent Iceburner of Levine Iceburner, that's the guy that we use. He's a really good dude. He's a veteran and brings that same attention to detail to you, your relationship, and the courtroom. Yes, actually, it's unheard of for people that have their name on the shingle to actually go into court, but he does. And that's one of the reasons we love him so much. Personal injury attorney, estate planning, civil litigation, contracts, all that kind of stuff. 608-621-2888, anywhere in Wisconsin. 608-621-2888. Again, 608-621-2888. That's Levine Iceburner. The attorneys that are so fantastic, and they actually pick up the phone, they build a relationship with you, they give a damn, and they're just really, 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 really good people. So give them a buzz. And a veteran. Coming up the next hour, we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur. So that is upcoming. Looking forward to that. Out of the 715, I think the Packers will mush rush and have Cooper and Walker spy Caleb Williams. I think LaFleur is going to have Watson, Reed, and Golden being a package that can stress the secondary. I think this matchup is going to be the difference in the game. Out of the 608, Bill, you have a stat for a number of passes thrown by Love that were batted down in the two Bears games. Seems like more than other games. Randy from Nacita. I don't. I have to go back and look and see if there's some kind of a stat that's there. That's a great question. I don't know. Mark in La Crosse says, hey, Bill and Grant, I just heard you guys advertising for Ryan and the gang at the waterfront. I happened to stop by there the other day. I stopped in for one reason. His chili. His chili is the best out there out of anywhere. Almost as good as my mom's. That is Mark in La Crosse. Mark, I love it, man.
We won't tell her you said that.
Yeah, well, we didn't give you your last name, Mark. So unless your mom's listening to the program, knowing you were just in this area. So we won't tell your mom. Wiz Texan says, regarding the cheap shot on Jordan Love, you said the NFL also said that it was a bad hit. Did the Chicago player get fined? Yes. And his last name was Booker. Booker. The 608 says, Bill, how do you think the Packers are going to do in the red zone on Saturday? That's from Mary. Mary, they got to do better than what they did. If they are able to punch it in the red zone, not fumble the football away, able to actually not settle for field goals, but punch it in a couple of times. If the Packers get to 27, they'll win the game. I really believe that. If it's 21 or less, chances are they don't win the game. Chances are they don't win the game. But if they get to 27, I think they win this game. And I think they can do that. I think, and they would have done that the last time, had it not been for the fumble and getting your quarterback knocked out, and then obviously settling for field goals. Had they done that, they'd have won the game. I just believe it. All right. Coming up next, Matt LaFleur, Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley, we're going to take a listen to. Jeff Hafley, who is being rumored to be head coaching material, or at least interviewed as head coaching material. We're going to hear from Jeff Hafley coming up next. We still got some Matt LaFleur to get to. We got all kinds of good stuff. We've got 3 hours down, but don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Another hour of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers are closing in on their matchup against the Bears in the wild card round of the playoffs. They're going to head to Chicago tomorrow and then face off against their longtime rival on Saturday night at Soldier Field. The intensity in the rivalry going to take a jump or two, but Coach Matt LaFleur is trying to get his guys to treat it just like any other game.
I think the more normal you can make it, the better chance you have. So throughout my experiences, you got to just do your job and focus on your job. And we know this. Like anytime you're playing a really good football team, whether it's in the playoffs or in the regular season, every play is so critical.
Packers now have 16 players on injury reserve after Bo Melton was placed on there yesterday. But overall, the guys on the roster relatively healthy, including running back Josh Jacobs. He said yesterday that he's feeling the best he has since late November. They suffered a knee injury, kick on Saturday night, set for 7. Turning to Wisconsin, they continue to load up in the transfer portal, having signed more than 20 guys so far, includes Missouri safety Marvin Burks Jr. last night. Players have until January 16th to put their name in the portal, but don't have to decide on a school by then.
Truck drivers, no matter where you want to take your career in 2026, Schneider has an opportunity for you. Our huge selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Looking for more reliability on the road? Check out our new dedicated and regional van truckload opportunities. Don't miss out. Find your perfect driving job today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Well, Giannis Antetokounmpo says he will never request a trade from the Bucks. He told The Athletic that it is just not in his nature to do so. Milwaukee's still out west. They're going to be back in action tomorrow night when they take on the Lakers. And Wisconsin back on the practice floor today. They're going to head to number 2 Michigan coming up on Saturday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Welcome in. Bill Michaels Show continuing on. This segment brought to you by our friends at Social House. West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls, Brookfield. Great food, great people. They made a big donation. Oh, by the way, I got to tell you about their Super Bowl. The day of the Super Bowl, they've got a soup contest going on. If you want to enter your soup, see, speaking of soups and chilies, if you want to enter your soup, bring it on over. Everybody gets a spoon and a tasting and everything. Bring it on over. And all the proceeds from their Super Bowl goes to Big Unit Foundation. So it's a great event. They always have a lot of fun doing it. People get a chance to taste about 20 different soups. And also all the money raised over there that day, they give to Big Unit Foundation. So you're doing two things. You get a chance to get some great soups. You watch the Super Bowl. And you make a donation to Big Unit Foundation, helping veterans, military members, and their families. It's a win-win-win. So if you're going to be around, don't forget about Social House, West Lisbon Road, Menominee Falls, Brookfield. Check it out for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. So great stuff. So thanks to Dan Della and his staff for doing that for us. We really, really, really appreciate it. All right, Jeff.
I hate jumping in and interrupting you. I feel rude. Mike Clemens is here to check in with us briefly.
Let's
before
do
we
this.
get to this.
Let's go north. Mike Clemens. They had that private practice today inside Lambeau Field. Mike got that sneak peek picture before the team took the field. Michael, how you doing, pal?
Yeah, okay. You know, it was actually sunny out earlier today, and they're just about wrapping up now. They're supposed to be done in about 10 or 15 minutes. But yeah, LaFleur announced today during a morning press conference that he was going to move the team over from the Clark Kinkle Field, where everybody, you know, was used to seeing them in the summertime, over to inside Lambeau, because he said, yeah, practice yesterday, I think the field's getting kind of tore up, the practice field, and that the weather that they've had here, you know, rain and snow and ice and rain, and it's been tough on it. So he just thought that this might be a better surface. Then, you know, people were asking about, you know, hey, how's Soldier Field been the last time that you've been there? So he says, I don't think it was an issue. You know, when they were down there, they didn't think that, because of course we know from years ago, you know, it was how would you describe that paste, that painted green paste?
That was crap. Cow pasture. Okay. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. You know what? I have got to think it's more than just the grounds. I got to think that LaFleur just thought, you know, how about a change of pace? You know, how about just kind of cleanse the palate a little bit?
Right.
Let's have them go inside the stadium today. So they got the music cranking. You can hear it, you know, from Oneida. They got the practice music cranking while they're doing this run through today inside there. Dontavian Wicks, you know, if you put Bo Melton, the wide receiver, on injured reserve, he, you know, injured his knee on punt coverage the other day in Minnesota. So he's now done for the season on IR. You want to have all of your weapons, and Dontavian Wicks is apparently still in the concussion protocol, although he's been limited in practice. And then right tackle Zach Tom, resting today. Resting today. And, you know, he's got this knee injury and also listed with a back. He's been out since the Denver game.
Right.
It's been, you know, quite a while. And so, you know, earlier in the week, LaFleur said, oh, yeah, we think Zach Tom's going to play. And I am not so sure if Zach Tom thinks he's going to play yet. So that'll probably be a game time decision on Saturday night. So that's what we're working on right now. Now we're going to get in the locker room. It'll be the last time to talk to the guys before Saturday night's game, I'd really like to see Rashawn Gary show up and do a little media time today, and I'll let you know how that works out.
Yeah, I think the two big things, Mike, and you had touched on it, if you get Dontavian Wicks back out of the concussion protocol, but really they struggled without Zach Tom in that game against the Bears. And that was one of the things. Booker comes off the edge and ends up knocking out Jordan Love. So if Zach Tom can be back and really good, to get him back, it sounded like when they were talking about it with Jordan Love and the sound we heard earlier, Jordan Love's like, yeah, we need him back. I hope he's able to return.
I hope so too. I wonder if it's going to be a thing where, he starts and then he goes a couple of drives and says,
right,
and tags out. We'll find out. But I'm going to head over to the locker room and I'll keep you guys up to date. Okay?
All right, bud. There you go. Mike Clemens joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline. Good stuff. Mike keeping us informed. So some question marks. Dontavian Wicks, we know, with the concussion in the protocol. So hopefully he's cleared. And then obviously and he didn't get the concussion, by the way, in the game against Minnesota. He got it a week prior to. So hopefully he's able to go. And then obviously Zach Tom would be the other one. If Zach Tom can come, he sounded like he felt really good at the beginning of the week when they had a chance to talk to him, but he's still, today not practicing. Now today could be just one of those, hey, you practiced pretty well. We don't want to, have you sore or anything going into the game. Get a day off, take it easy. Go through our walkthrough tomorrow, and if we fly out of here, you should be good to go for the game. Maybe that's just precautionary more so than anything, but usually on a, quote, Friday practice, you're not sitting out. So you hope that's not a bad sign. You hope. So cross your fingers. Jeff Hafley sat down with the media. Take a listen.
You're not in the right seat. Someone took your seat?
Then he left. So would you be more comfortable?
Do you guys have assigned seats? Is that like how we are in meetings? Can you believe he's sitting there?
It's kind of like high school.
How would it be? You know what I'd really like if one day I came in and you were right in the front row.
Maybe next week.
I'm just so used to as soon as I come in, Rob, are you okay with that?
I like my seat. If anybody took it, I'd hit him in the back of the head.
I'll tell you what, I really appreciate you guys because no matter what kind of day I'm having, I come in here and I always get a smile to start. So thank you.
I think you're the first defensive coordinator who's ever said that.
I mean it. Like, we got a good group here. So I appreciate everything for this year, and hopefully we got a couple more weeks to come here. All right.
Keyshawn obviously made the play at the end of the Bears game here, gave up one at the end. He said, he's glad to have a third crack at it. Knowing him the way you do, how do you think he comes out and plays on Saturday?
I think he played a great game. I know he's super locked in. I know, he's kind of hero in that first game, and I know that meant a lot to him, especially in the rivalry. And I know he probably wishes he had that last play of regulation back. But that's life as a corner in this league. But I'm excited for him. He's a competitor. He's a guy who's kind of always been an underdog. He's kind of always been, a guy that's had to work his way up to get where he's been. And just knowing him and what he's been through and what he's made of. And, if I had to put money on it, I'd say he's going to have a pretty good game. And I believe in him. And I have total confidence in him. And I'm excited for him to get back out there on that field and play again.
Jeff, I asked you about him the week after that game, and you said you'd bet on him. But X said something that he knows Keyshawn better than anyone, that he holds on to stuff too long. Mm-hmm. Did you see him go through a process to being the confident guy that we all know?
Yeah. I think it took time during that week, but I think as soon as you get back on the field, just like anybody else, sometimes it takes some time. You get back on the field and then you have to let it go. I think that's easier said than done. And I've talked to you guys about this before. I think that's also our responsibility as coaches and his teammates. And I think belief is a very powerful thing. I think giving a player confidence is a very powerful thing. And those are through conversations, and those are through showing tape of what he did well and what he can do well and what he will continue to do well. And I think that's all part of our job, to pick each other up. It's just like if a coach is having a tough day or a tough week, or a unit is, you got to pick that group up. And then I take a lot of pride in that, and I think his teammates do too. So I think it was really cool for Keyshawn last week when we rested our starters to say that I want to start in this game. I respect him a lot for that. I think it says a lot about him and him wanting to go out there and play football. So I think that's where his mind is right now, and I think he's excited for this.
What did you think of the way Lee Diggs performed Sunday, and how comfortable would you be putting him back in there
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, he had a wristband on, so we kind of had some calls there to help him out. I think the safeties, those young guys, did a good job of communicating the calls. I think when he first got out there, he was kind of playing a little loose and playing a little off the ball, but you could see the more comfortable he got, the more aggressive he was. It was one of the first third downs of the game. He was on the right side, and we sent a pressure, and he broke the ball up against Jefferson. I thought he was going to pick it off. So I was really pleased with that play. Probably even more so, I like his physicality. He got off blocks on a screen and he made the play on one down our right sideline. I think it was Justin again, and he took a pretty violent punch because he's got really good length. So I thought for being here for really one practice, I thought he did a really nice job. It's cool to see the last couple of days how he's integrated with our players, how he's been in meetings. And overall, I just think he has more confidence right now in our scheme. So I'd be very comfortable to play him.
Is it unusual how he, his stance, like on that third down play you're talking about, where he's so leveraged to the, inside? Plays or?
No, that's part of just the coverage we were playing on that side of the field.
Because he did it. I mean, he did that a couple of times. Is that how you like the guys to play it, or does he get his choice of how to play it?
I want guys to be comfortable in their stances, but for certain coverages, I think there's certain leverages you need to play, whether you have your inside foot, your outside foot up, whether you're in man or zone, whether you're playing a cloud. So based on, all those things, I think you'll see him, getting a variety of different stances. But certainly I want him to be comfortable. It's not like we've had a lot of individual time with him to work with him. We're just trying to get up in the scheme. And the biggest thing I keep talking to him about is, I want him to try to learn it as quickly as he can, because when he gets out there, I don't want him thinking. I want him to play fast and not hesitate, because I think when players think and they try to overdo it, it doesn't usually go very well.
How much can a guy learn in a week or a week and a half as far as, any calls you make on the field, any changes, how big the playbook is for him? How much would you have to limit things if he ends up playing for you?
We won't have to limit him. I think with now with Xavier and Evan and Bull being back there, I think those guys can really help him out and kind of guide him if he doesn't know something and communicate. And that might put a little more pressure on those safeties, but they're really smart safeties, and it's kind of like having a coach and another voice out there to help him. So when he does play, there will not be a limit in the playbook.
Has he had any picks in practice?
Has he had any picks in practice? No, I don't know if he had any opportunities to have any picks in practice. I see his ball skills, though, when we do individual. He's got a lot of length and can go up and get it. So hopefully we'll see a couple down the road here.
You had a couple of really good first halves against the Bears.
Yeah.
And then second half was a little bit different. Were there adjustments they made that made a difference? Are there things you have to think ahead of, when you have a good half like that, and what their adjustments are?
I think we had a good 59 minutes in the last game that we played them, truthfully. But I give them credit. After they got the onside kick, they went down and scored. And then they hit the big play. So I thought we had a good game plan. I thought our guys executed. I thought we executed in that Bears game for the majority of the game at a really high level. I thought we played physical. I thought we stopped the run. I think the third down, we were extremely efficient, getting pressure on the quarterback. And I thought our guys did a good job. But to answer your question, that's not good enough. Right? I said 59 minutes. I didn't say 60. We have to finish for 60 minutes. And that's what it's going to take to beat the Bears. And that's what it's going to take to win a playoff game. So whatever we have to do, whatever adjustments we have to make throughout the game, we got to finish it. We got to start fast, but we need to finish. And clearly we didn't do a good enough job the last time we played them.
Jeff, you mentioned the run defense. You guys have done as good as anybody against these guys specifically, who are pretty damn good. We know what happened against Baltimore. Where do you think you are in kind of taking that lesson and applying it now when it's winter go home?
Yeah, I think ultimately we'll have to wait to answer that question for you, because like most people, I see better than I hear, right? So I think we're going to have to go out and prove it. I thought our young guys did a really good job against the Vikings starters. I think that's one thing I think, we should kind of acknowledge and give them credit. I mean, as a coach, this season, we've had a lot of good things happen. We've played really good defense for a majority of the season. And that one of my most proud moments was watching those young guys get their opportunity against a really good Vikings offense with very talented players and their starters, and watching how hard they played, and holding those guys to 16 points. Now, we didn't win, I get it, so it's not good enough. But to see those players sitting in the locker room after the game, we had some guys in tears knowing that they just had an opportunity to play in an NFL game. That was a proud moment, like a really cool moment as a coach. It's one of the reasons you do this, right? So I just want to acknowledge and give those guys credit, how hard they worked, how hard our leaders worked to help get them in those positions, and then the way they went out and put it all out there. Just a really cool moment, and I'm proud of those guys on defense. Yeah, I mean, I think we played the run pretty well for a majority of the year. Obviously, we talked about the Baltimore game. It starts with lining up and doing our jobs consistently, which we failed to do that night. But I'm excited to get another shot at Chicago and do it. They have a very explosive run group with Monangai and Swift, and the quarterback obviously can run the ball. I think their O-line's really good, and they're one of the best run offenses in the NFL. So we're going to have to show it, but I don't want to talk about it. I want to go do it, and that's been our whole mentality for the week.
So along those lines, how do you stop some of those getting blood fears? Like you hit him at 2 in the game 5. What's the key to eliminating some of that?
Pad level, get low, get off blocks, put your shoulder pad through a guy's sternum, wrap up and run your feet and get multiple people to the ball. And that's what we're going to have to do. The one thing I'll say is we've played them really physical the last 2 times, and it needs to take a step up. And that's what I would anticipate with these guys.
We've talked a bunch about Rashawn in here, and I understand it's more than sacks. Are you satisfied with what you've gotten from him since Micah went down?
I mean, I think there's things that I'm satisfied with, and there's things we want to get better at. We talked this week again, and there's things he wants to get better at, and then there's some things that he's doing really well. To make a run in the playoffs, we're going to need more out of everybody, and I think he would tell you the same thing. Whether that's pass rush, whether it's setting edges, whether it's getting off blocks and making plays. He needs to really take a step as a leader of our team as we get into the playoffs along with the rest of the guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing him do that.
I was just going to say, did Barron or Colin earn themselves playoff snaps with some of the things they did in Minnesota?
Yeah, I thought Barron and Oliver did a nice job. I thought it was really, you talk about some of those guys that it was kind of so inspiring watching a guy like Colin Oliver, who hasn't played really. I mean, looking back, I think he played 1 game his senior year in college because he got hurt, maybe 2 games, maybe got hurt in the second game. But just watching him run around and just give everything he had, I think it shows a very promising future, whether that's this week or down the road. And then Barron's been a consistent guy. He's been really reliable. He does everything we ask him to do, and he continues to show up, right? We got a lot of guys that you can only dress so many. But I certainly think what he did puts him in consideration for playing in the playoffs. Yeah.
On to Jason's question about the run defense, and you talked about these guys playing so well against Minnesota. What did you think of Stackhouse and Ford? And can those guys give you some help too?
Yeah, I think they can. Ford's another guy. We talk about Diggs kind of just getting here. Ford just walked in the door too. With all the injuries that we've had and then losing Riley, we bring in Ford, and within a couple of days, he's out there playing too. And that's just not like, hey, just line up and take on double teams. I mean, he's got to learn where to line up, what techniques to play, when he's in movement, when he's in stunts, how we rush. And I thought he did a really good job. He gives us a big guy. I thought he played really hard and physical, probably with a higher motor than I remembered when he was here. And again, I think it's a guy who kind of was given an opportunity and he wanted to make the most of it. Stack, the same thing. Stack was a guy who played early on for us and then, hit a little bit of a wall there. And I think we got him back now. Young player with a lot of talent, but we're going to need those guys for sure. We're thin. We're very thin in the middle right now. So we need those guys to step up. And I think those 2 guys help give us a chance.
Jeff,
Yeah.
you go, Jeff.
You guys are okay, both of you. So whoever wants to go first.
I'll defer to Jason.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
You didn't have Evan in Chicago. You didn't have Evan in Chicago in week 16. He possibly could have played a role in maybe getting you guys a win instead of a loss. But how eager has he been this week to get back, especially against the Bears? And 2, what kind of an impact will he have against Caleb Williams at the Bears?
Yeah, I think Evan, if you take a look at our defense throughout this year, I think Evan has been extremely consistent and played at a very, very high level, game after game. Obviously we wish we had him out there for that game, but we didn't. Another guy who got some reps last week, kind of after getting injured in the game, but I know he's excited for it. It'll be his second crack in the playoffs, and, I think he's ready to roll.
Let's do this. We'll step out because it goes on for a little while longer. I want to get all of this. Jeff Hafley talked about the defense and what they're going to need to do going down to Chicago. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show upcoming. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at Stoley's Hog Alley out in Oconomowoc Summit on Venice Beach Road out there, which they've got great burgers and such, but they're going to have big specials coming up this weekend. If you want to go in and watch the game and sit down, have a dinner or what have you, you can just go there and hang out, and they're going to have the game on. They're going to have specials that night coming up on Saturday night. Don't forget about the fish fry tomorrow night, which is fantastic, but a lot of specials and such coming up tomorrow night as well. Don't forget about Stoll's Old 109 on Watertown. Same thing. County Road R with all the TVs. They're going to have some live music out there that night, but don't forget they're going to run some specials for the game. Packers Bears coming up this weekend, and there's a couple of great places to go watch it. Stoley's Hog Alley in Oconomowoc, Stoll's Old 109 in Watertown.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back in. Bill Michaels Show on this Thursday edition. Packers getting ready to go down to Chicago. Take on the Bears.
Because the Bears still suck.
Hopefully they walk away with a victory. We will be live after the game. Don't forget, inside the Sheridan Grand Riverwalk over by the Shy Bar. That's where you can find us, the Green and Gold postgame show, immediately after the Packers and the Bears this coming weekend. So 10 o'clock to midnight, we're going to be on the air, and hopefully we're talking about a Packers victory. In the meantime, let's go back to it. Jeff Hafley finishing up with the media.
Matt called him a second coach on the field. What's the growth been like for him since he came in as a rookie?
Just the maturity, the knowledge, the confidence. You can just see he's starting to see the game. He plays it so fast. He's really instinctual. He knows the calls. He knows the defense. He's got a really good feel for what other teams are trying to do. He calls out a lot of plays. He studies it down in distances. He studies the formation tendencies. So he's constantly talking with X. I think it's like having two coaches on the field, which is really, really helpful. But I think there's a big jump from year one to year two, and I think he took it. And I think he's going to eventually, I think people will see that he'll be one of the best safeties in this league.
When did you notice that in him? Because it sure seemed like he came in as a rookie and was ahead of his draft stock and all that. When did you notice that settled in for him?
I would say towards the end of last year. I just think the confidence, the playing experience, and then as he got going in OTAs and really got another, kind of took a deep breath and then got back into it. You noticed it going in training camp, and then just how confident he's been, because you can see he triggers so much faster this year. There's times when it looks like he might be blitzing, but he's not. His ability to read and react and diagnose things it's very quick, and he can get going and make those plays. But I would say he's had it. You can kind of see it on his college film, the way he played. He was one of our favorite guys, watching him when he was at Oregon. And like I said, I think he'll continue to take those steps.
You started by mentioning just the uncertainty for this time of year. We might talk to you next week. We might not. Your name's been pretty popular as a potential head coaching candidate for this cycle. I mean, we all have career goals. What would that opportunity mean to you? And after 2 years here, where do you feel like you are in terms of being ready for that?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's hearing my name out there, that's obviously extremely flattering and very humbling. Right. And I think when you work for an organization like the Packers and have a head coach like Matt and players like we do and a defensive staff like we do, I'm just honored to be in those. I think right now with all that stuff, it can be a distraction. So I'm trying to lock in on these playoffs and do the best that we can. And then whenever that time comes, we'll figure it out and go from there. But extremely honored and flattered, just to be mentioned. And you asked me that question. But for right now, this is the Bears. I mean, this is one of the biggest rivalries in all of football, one that I have watched for a very long time. Did not end the way we wanted to the last time we played there. So I am going to do everything in my power to focus on every minute that I have to give this organization and our players everything I got to go win this game.
Jeff, can I ask you that same question in a different way?
You can ask me any question you like, because if I said no, you would.
Fair.
But you always phrase it like that, so you set yourself up for me. But I can't wait to see how you ask the same question differently.
Me too.
Okay, well, here we go. You don't know what the future holds, and neither do I. But to think about where you were a couple of years ago, you're coaching your own college program. What have these 2 years meant to you, and what do you think about what you've put together with this group, and just what has it been like for you? Because it seems that you're pretty damn passionate about this group that you've been.
Yeah, I love this group. I love being part of the Green Bay Packers, and I never take that for granted every day when I drive in and I get to see Lambeau Field, honestly. I mean, I'm a guy who started coaching Division III football and worked my way up to be a college head coach, and now I'm part of the greatest NFL organization that there is, getting called plays. So that is so humbling to me. I love the defensive players that we coach. Like, I love these guys, and I love the staff, and I love working for Matt. And I never take that for granted, not 1 second, which is why when I answer that question, I don't think it'd be fair to anybody in here, anybody a part of this, for me not to give everything I have for this game. Would one day I like to be a head coach again? Absolutely, for sure. But just even answering this question for you right now, I just am so grateful and so happy to be here and be part of this. And I've just loved coming to work every single day here. Even joking with you guys, I know sometimes it's hard and you ask hard questions, but you guys have been incredible. And I mean that. And it's not like that everywhere. So I thank you guys for that. Everything that I have been a part of here, from Goody to Ed, to Matt, it's just been like, what a blessing to be here for me and my family. So I appreciate that. And we are not going to be done. So I will see you guys next week.
We are not going to be done, and I will see you guys next week. There you go. Jeff Hafley talking to the media. And obviously there's, the rumors floating around out there about what he may or may not be asked to do. And I get it. You got to deal with it, but I like Jeff Hafley. I don't know with some of the other names that are out there, if that pool of coaches is so deep that he's not going to get a chance, or if teams don't want another head coach that's had that experience, if they're going to bring Hafley in as far as the quote, conversation of new blood. But nevertheless, interesting stuff. But as he said, go ahead.
Sorry. No. Finish what you were going to say.
No, I was just going to say, I think we're all kind of hoping that, that he returns. But if not, the other aspect of this is you think about some of the coaches that are going to be out there. There are some coaches, defensively speaking, that are going to be out there that have the capability of running a defense. So either way, I don't think you lose if you're the Green Bay Packers. So
I guess my question about his head coaching prospects, if you were hiring, would you rather hire Jeff Hafley or Brian Flores?
Hafley.
Really?
Yeah, Hafley. And I'll tell you why. Now, if I'm just going on strictly coaching prowess, probably Flores. To this point, I think it's kind of a coin flip, but Flores brings the baggage of suing the league.
Sure.
So that's the only reason I would say, if I'm going to go with just a coach, I'd probably go with Flores. He's got more experience in that sense, and he's been a head coach before. But if I'm going for just a guy that I can believe that can relate, that's going to get an opportunity, that's really good at what he does, Hafley's just as good, I think. But I think
Saleh or Hafley?
Robert Saleh would be another one that may get another opportunity to, become a head coach.
It's just that and Harbaugh, I know he's not a defensive guy in the pure sense like these other guys, but if you want a CEO or a defensive type head coach, there's like 3 or 4 of those guys available. Where if Hafley was some offensive whiz, like if he was
right,
the next Shanahan or McVay or LaFleur, he might have an easier route to get a coach, especially in this cycle.
Sure.
Because there's no Ben Johnson or there's no Liam Cohen, but there's a couple Flores, Saleh, Harbaugh guys already.
Yep. Completely agree. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know if this pool is too deep for him to get a head coaching job. He might be back. But if let's just say he gets a head coaching job and he moves on. Would you take a guy like Raheem Morris as your defensive coordinator? Because he might be sitting out there.
Him and LaFleur are close, right?
Yeah. There's going to be some names that are not going to get head coaching jobs that are then going to be available for coordinators. And would you then say Steno's gone and, bring in Stefanski? I would. Would you bring in, Mike McDaniels? He's quirky. He's weird. I think you need more machismo in the room, but he's also pretty smart when it comes to calling an offense as an offensive coordinator. You're going to have Matt LaFleur calling the plays, but you know what I mean? There's minds that are going to be out there, and McDaniel and some of these guys, or not McDaniel, LaFleur and some of these guys have connections. So there's going to be while there may be some change, there's also going to be some opportunities, specifically here in Green Bay's own backyard. And now it doesn't mean they're automatically going to come to Green Bay, but it certainly means that if there's some opportunities there, you might want to explore those. It gives you a chance to better yourself, without a doubt. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. Would love to hear from you. Hey, don't forget, I know it's not perfect right now with it being close to 50 degrees and rain, but it's going to get cold again. And they're making snow, whether it's at some of the small ski hills in the state of Wisconsin or Norway Mountain up in Iron Mountain, just east of Iron Mountain, Michigan, as a matter of fact. Check out norwaymt.com, norwaymt.com. And the further north you go, the colder it is. We all know that. And the more snow base is out there. So go to norwaymt.com or just call them directly and tell them we sent you. 906-970-2040, 906-970-2040. That is Norway Mountain, with tons of different ski runs and tons of different levels of ski runs for you to use. And the chalet down there at the bottom, you can stay overnight. You can spend a weekend there. That is NorwayMT.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome in. Bill Michaels Show. Couple of segments to go before we get out of here today. Hopefully, your day's going great. Kind of feeling good. Packers getting ready to take on the Bears. You've got college football coming up tonight in the college football playoffs. You got Miami and Ole Miss going at it tonight. Tomorrow night, Indiana and Oregon going to be squaring off. So you got good football coming up. Then you've got the wild card weekend coming up. Looking forward to it. Big time. Really looking forward to it. By the way, a terrific note, and I'm not going to go on and on about it, but a terrific note from a couple, and this is from Gene and Jade, who live in Sheboygan and listen to the program, watch the program, I should say, watch the program. And just said, hey, took your advice, went to Calderon Club, really enjoyed it. I can't say how much good Italian food is not in our area. There's a good place up in Sheboygan, right? I think it's called Stevens. They got a pretty good Italian restaurant up there. But your Calderon Club's it. I mean, that's fantastic. But Stevens, I think it's called Stevens up there in that area. But he said, not up here. Trekked down to Milwaukee to go see a Milwaukee Bucks game and remembered Calderon Club. Stopped in, sat at the end of the bar, and just enjoyed ourselves. And you are right, the chicken marsala was to die for. Thank you very much for the heads up. Go Bucks. 838 Old World Third Street, downtown Milwaukee. That is Calderon Club in San Giorgio. They're right next to one another. And if you're in the area where they're going to a Bucks game or you just Marquette, whatever it is, Admirals game, or you're just going to go down for a great night out and some Italian food, that's the place to go. 838 Old World Third Street, downtown Milwaukee. Trying to look through some things here, some emails that we got during the last couple of breaks. This one's from Jake. Jake said, hey, guys, I have a good feeling about the Packers getting the win. I agree with you. If they don't turn the ball over, they're going to win the game. After all, they have beaten the Bears for 4.5 quarters and then really put it on them for 4.5 quarters and really put it on them for 3 quarters. I think the last couple of minutes of the last game proved to be a negative for the Green Bay Packers, who allowed the Bears to get back into it. Otherwise, the Packers are looking at 2-0 against the Bears this season. Remember, the Bears only won 2 games in the division. I know that, but still, I mean, they were close games. I agree with you. The Packers have beaten the Bears. They've been the better team, but the minuscule mistakes have turned the tide. That's it. That's it. I don't know. Look, when I say I picked the Packers, I got a good feeling. It doesn't mean I think they're going to blow them out. It just means I think, I think coming out of the first game, the Bears had some confidence. And they played like it early on, like they were just world beaters, and they made some mistakes. They got out over their skis a little bit. The Packers took advantage. The Packers were able to move the football, and the Packers got up. And then it just fell apart. The Packers got on their heels. And, we've talked about this time and again. It's when the Packers have faced adversity that this team has not always fared well. And this is where I look. This is postseason. So I look, if the Packers face adversity, the team that's more equipped, at least experience-wise, to face adversity would be the Green Bay Packers. This is the Bears, for the first time in a long time, taste of what it's like to have legitimate success. So, I'm not saying like the coaching staff doesn't get it or whatever, or guys haven't faced adversity at all in their playing careers. But when it comes to this level, postseason football in the NFL, the Packers have been there, done that. They have faced adversity. If they can handle it and handle it better, they can win the game as well. I'm not saying that that's all there is to it. There's certainly a lot more to it. And the big thing is don't lose the turnover battle. But I don't know. I can't quantify it. I can't sit here and say this is the reason they're going to win. I just think that they have a good pool of receivers. And again, I say this with trepidation. because Zach Tom's missing again today. If he's not in there and they have a weak spot on the offensive line, that I'm not saying the Packers are going to lose a game. What I'm saying is it's cause for concern, legitimate concern, because we all know Jordan Love in a clean pocket will eat you alive. Jordan Love in a dirty pocket, one of the worst quarterbacks in the National Football League this year. And you go back to what Mike Renner said before, it's not necessarily just bad mechanics, it's bad decision-making. Under pressure, it's bad decision-making. Now, that's where a guy like Aaron Rodgers flourished. You could blitz him, whatever. Single high safety, bringing somebody off the edge, and he would eat you up. Put me under pressure. I'll find the opening in a heartbeat. It's like my mind is a computer. That's that little something that maybe Jordan Love just has to get, and now's the time to get it. Now's the time when you start to make that run. Third season, postseason, you're a wild card, backs against the wall. Not a lot of people are picking you. Now's when you go, okay, I've arrived. Here we are. So whether it's Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, whatever, this team has to be able to face adversity. They have to enjoy it. They have to eat it. And, and get it done. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Let's see here. What else do we got? This is from Jamie. Jamie says, hey guys, I think the Packers are going to win. The Bears are going to keep it close, but I think ultimately we send the Bears fans home sad. What would it mean for the rivalry if the Packers win yet again? Well, I don't put too much on this. What would it mean? It would mean that the Packers get yet another win and the Bears are still trying to climb out from underneath some of the Packers. This is what I said before about when the Bears fans in this last game and they got the win really started pounding their chests. And I said, that's great. You won. You've had a successful season, 11 wins. You have every right in the world to be excited, to feel good about maybe your future, all of that. There's reason for that. But whatever you do, don't pound your chest too hard. Because we have seen this, where you win a season and the next thing you know, you go right back to being the same old Bears. We have seen this with other teams where they win one and you think, okay, I've arrived, and it's going to continue to happen. And then it doesn't. Take it as it comes. Until you get sustained success, just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride, cheer for your team, all that kind of good stuff. Enjoy the ride. The Packers have basically, since Favre became Favre, going back to 92, 93, 94, the Packers have owned your ass. So don't get too crazy. Same thing with the Lions. The Lions had a reason. The Lions had a really good team for a few years. And this year crashed back down to earth a little bit. But this is the longest stretch since 1998 to 2001 that the Packers have not won the division. Now think about that for a minute. Since 2001 until 2026, 2025, 2026, the Packers have always been in there. That's sustained success. So, just enjoy the ride right now. Nothing wrong with that. 877-867-1670. What else do we have here? Because the Bears still suck. Okay. Remember, guys, the Bears did beat the Packers in the 1941 playoffs. They have split, by the way. They have split. This is the third time, I think. Is it the third time or the fourth time they're meeting? Third time, I think. And the Packers won the NFC Championship game down there. And again, that's the other thing. And I say this all the time. Until you beat the Packers in Green Bay in an NFC Championship game, come on, man.
I did a hit with Ernie this morning.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what his question was, but basically about the Packers-Bears rivalry. And, everyone always says the Bears still suck. I said, look, if the Packers were able to win on Saturday, it's just another example in a long line of examples where the Bears thought it was their year, thought they had climbed out from under the Packers, and only for the Packers to pull something out of their butt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of on the line for them. I think this game is bigger than the Packers-Bears rivalry because Ben Johnson's trying to, stamp his seal on the division and on the league, and Matt LaFleur is trying to get a contract. Look, there's a lot bigger things than whether or not we're going to be able to say the Bears still suck. But I do think that dynamic, especially because the Bears are the home team and they just had this great year, I think that is at play.
Yeah, I would agree. I would completely agree. Let's do this. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's always a bigger segment at the end of the program. We preview what we got going on tomorrow as well. Stay tuned. We got more after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome in. About ready to wrap it up.
Hey, gotta say thanks and welcome back again this year to our friends at Buzzard Billy.
I'm so glad they're back. I love heading out to the western portion of the state of Wisconsin, heading to La Crosse, seeing our bartenders that take care of us out there, heading upstairs to the Starlight Lounge and face first with a snorkel into the Wisconsin beer cheese soup. Yeah, love Buzzard Billy's. Love that out there. Walking the streets after the fact, we have done that on more than one occasion now, which is kind of cool. But always enjoy going to Buzzard Billy's. Buzzard Billy's on Pearl Street in La Crosse, Wisconsin. You can too. If you go there already, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never been there, stop in. Upstairs, Starlight Lounge. It's like going back into the 50s. You're just kind of looking for the Rat Pack to come out of the back and start singing to you. It's just that kind of cool place. Starlight Lounge upstairs, Buzzard Billy's downstairs, Pearl Street in La Crosse, Wisconsin, with a bunch of good specials upcoming. It's always good at Mardi Gras season. It's always good for Valentine's Day. That's a great one because you go there for dinner. You go upstairs to the Starlight Lounge, get one of those cocktail tables. Good to go. Good Valentine's date night right there. That's the Starlight Lounge upstairs. Good stuff. What do we have tomorrow? We got what? Mike Clemens tomorrow.
Correct.
Is going to join us.
I'm hoping that we can get our Bears consultant
Brad
back
Biggs?
on, Mr. Brad Biggs, but he can sometimes be a little busy. So I'm hoping to nail down a time with him. If I was Brad, I'd be like, well, I was just on the same team.
Right.
But it's fun. I love connecting. And I love having Brad on.
Well, Brad's good.
Oh, he's the best.
He's fantastic.
He's no nonsense, too. That's what I want a football reporter to look and sound like. You know what I mean? Just like a Midwestern football scribe. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get the latest injury reports and stuff. And I think we're going to start to hear, probably some more requests for head coaches too. I just saw that Robert Saleh was requested to be interviewed by the Rangers.
Okay.
So we'll follow that as it continues as well. And if you hear any more juice about Giannis, please don't hesitate to bring that to the show.
That kind of got swept aside a little bit today. Maybe we talk more about it depending on what happens next week. But yeah, I just one of my guys who's been pretty stable with me over the last couple of years, specifically when Shams Charania was saying, "Oh, Giannis is gone," and I kept saying, "My guy's telling me no," and he wasn't. He was 100% correct. We got on the discussion of Giannis, and he kind of went, he bit his lip and shook his head like, no. There's nothing certain right now. Giannis wants to stay. Giannis is not going to ask for a trade, but they all know that Giannis wants a legacy with numerous championships and the opportunities to get championships. So it was kind of, I'm not going to say shocking, but it was a little disheartening to say, don't count on Giannis being here next year. And I'm going to circle back to that to say, is this a more of a certainty or is this kind of a 50-50 thing? But he said, I don't know if I'd count on Giannis being here sooner rather than later. So I said, okay. I didn't want to pry. He's always been good about information. I don't, go too deep into things. I don't give out names and stuff. He knows that. And I don't shout from the bell towers on that stuff either. I don't immediately run from him and start tweeting stuff. So, but it was something I told him. I said, can I at least talk about this? He's like, yeah, you can talk about it. He said, the tide has changed a little bit.
Well, they stink. Well, they don't stink, but it's just I watched them last night. I'm like,
yeah,
they're fine. And they can have nice moments with Giannis. And one more thing we should do tomorrow. I saw Mike on the live stream. We should go over our picks and talk about the weekend games for those who missed it on the huddle last night as well.
We can do that too.
Which I like because all the games are good. Like I don't need to spend time on the 10-2 show talking about like Falcon Saints at noon, but we can go through all the playoff games again. Absolutely. That sounds fun.
Absolutely. We can do that because we've got opinions. That's for damn sure. So, by the way, the great piece from Mike Clemens, who is in the locker room right now. This was yesterday. Josh Jacobs reminding his teammates and telling guys in there, you don't get a lot of guys don't even get a chance to play in a playoff game. So he said the one thing about it's going to be chippy and it's win or go home, and it's who contains their emotions, and in a win or go home game. And don't bite into the bait if they go a little bit beyond the whistle, if they give you the extra shove, if all that, don't bite it. Don't get into it. You be the one to do it, not them. So don't cost your team. So some good stuff there that Mike posted from yesterday. All right, that's it. That quick. Done. Good day today. Fast day today. Good stuff from Mike Renner from CBS Sports today as well. So fantastic. And I might make a call or two. Maybe we can get our buddy Jeff Joniak on. Jeff Joniak joined us down there at Combine. We had a chance to talk to him. I think I still have his number. Maybe I'll give him a call, see if he can join us tomorrow too at some point. I'll let you know. We'll figure it out. So we'll have people though. Stay tuned. Going to be back again tomorrow.